have a plan, the only thing you even do in those days is to a phone call and go back and sleep. But any day you don't have a plan, what do? You hustle. You know what they call hustle? You think it's by power. You stretch yourself, you stress yourself, you worry. Some days I just sleep and I get a call. And the thing has entered again. Why? There is a plan. And not just a plan, a very long-term plan. You know the Bible says, for those of you that are Christians, say we shall not all sleep. Is that not true? So if you will not sleep, what will you be doing? You engage. So please, I want you to understand that we are dealing with something very technical today. Let me ask a question. And please permit me in the next maybe 2-3 minutes, somebody should give me answers. What does it take to create, shape, and sustain a nation? If you have an answer, please just put up your hand. 2, 3, 4 of you. Let's talk about it. What does it take to create, to shape, and to sustain a nation? Remember Daddy told us that Nigeria is still a country, right? Right? Have you gone online and you see that they call, some online platforms are called online nations? Have you seen it? Have you seen some people also, they call themselves communities, right? Have you seen that? So let me ask you a question. Please just put up your hand. I want us to engage, then we'll stay engaged further. What does it take to create or to shape or to sustain a nation? Let me see. So it can be a physical nation, it can be an online nation. Okay, please let me hear you. Please tell me your name and let's hear you.
My name is Abubakar Yunusa Ibrahim. It takes ideas to create, shape a nation.
Okay, so you are giving one answer to take care of the tree, right? Okay, so when you are dealing with me, know that you are dealing with somebody of specifics. I park where I'm supposed to park. I don't park my tires like this. You know that kind of thing. I want you to think deep. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, so let me hear you.
My name is Joshua Ede.
Okay, Joshua, thank you.
I believe it takes system. I believe it takes system, principles, and people to create, shape, and sustain a nation.
Okay, it takes systems, right?
Yeah.
People and what? Principles. Very correct. He also said it takes ideas, right? Thank you very much. Another person? Yes, sir. Please, the next one must be women. Because I think it's women that give birth to nations. Is that not true?
Yes, sir.
Are you not the one that gave birth to those 2 nations in the stomach? Why you people should talk? Yes, sir.
Good day, sir. Thank
Yes,
you, sir.
Your name?
My name is Gabriel Etim.
Okay.
Yes, I think it takes, well, I'm sure it takes innovation and the consistent adoption of that innovation to shape, create, shape, and sustain a nation.
Okay, thank you. Innovation. So innovation basically means application of fresh thinking to a problem. You're not creating anything, you're just adding fresh thinking. Nations have been done before, it's not rocket science. So I can go back to how maybe one kingdom did it, change some things, and put it back in our own. I may not talk about United Kingdom. You know, they're the one that brought us to where we are. But this is easy, right? Okay. Yes? No. Women should speak. After they'll say, I'm not doing gender balance. Oh, no women? Okay, let's hear him, then we'll hear her. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is God's Favor. I'll say to create, shape, and sustain, you need a productive mind, and also you need consistency in doing that, which in applying the principle you're applying.
So this is the second time you are hearing the word consistency. Mark that word consistency. Consistency is tied to the word called sustainability. If you start anything and you're not consistent, if you have a 100-year plan or a 50-year plan or 20-year plan, I hope you know you'll be discouraged many times. Is that true? I was watching an interview of last week of Timi Dakolo. He says even himself, with that Great Nation song that he sang, how many watched it on YouTube? I'm like, God, you need to help him. And you need to help us. Because at a stage, if you start getting discouraged of this new nation we're talking about, you are -1. Everybody that has a long-term plan is going to meet a lot of discouragement. I hope you know that in the primaries of APC, you know Nigeria for me right now, some of you are worrying yourself, giving yourself high blood pressure. I use Nigeria for comedy. I don't watch football, I don't follow football, but I watch football to learn football. The same way I watch Nigeria politics to learn from it. I'm not involved though. Because when I mean involved, my emotions are not emotionally involved because I carry a bigger burden for Nigeria. Right? So when I watch it, I'm learning. I'm not saying whether he win or he does not win. It's like comedy now, so turn it to like comedy. I'm not joking. So when I saw a man, against all odds, winning that APC primary, I learned a lesson. Did you watch that primaries? How many of you watched that primaries? Was it not interesting? Very interesting. A man knowing that he's fighting against all his enemies. And at the end of the day, he still won the primaries. Before he got to that point, I hope you know he has been severally discouraged over the years before that point. Removed his cronies, did this, but the man is standing. You know why? Consistency of purpose, long-term plan, long-term vision, commitment to strategy. That is the lesson I want you to learn. Are you getting me? So I'm hearing that word again, and I'm bringing it out because it tallies to the last thing I'm asking here called sustainability. Okay? Yes, ma'am. You have dropped your hand? No, there's a lady. Okay. I thought it was you, a lady in white. What you have said, I've gone. I've said it. Oh, he has said it. Talk. Those of you that have said what another person have said, start thinking of what to say. Please. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sarah. You must be fearless.
Okay, thank you, Madam Sarah. You must be fearless. I'm doing a biography work for the former Minister of Education, Madam Obi, and you can't listen to her and you not even develop a spirit of fearlessness again. You must be fearless. It's just part of it, right? Thank you. Another person, one more person, then I'll move on. Okay, let me hear you. Thank you, Madam Mercy, you said? Madam what? Sarah. Thank you, Madam Sarah.
Hassan Umar.
Okay, Mr. Hassan, thank you.
Yes. What you need in these three aspects is one, you must be visionary.
Thank you. Everybody say visionary.
Visionary. For the shaping, you have to have a genuine integrity.
Okay.
That's when you will shape.
Okay.
And to sustain, you have to be consistent in what you put on the ground.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hassan.
Thank you, sir.
You're a very brilliant man. Our convener said that the biggest problem about Nigeria is that it's visionless. How many of us agree? I'm not involved in what we are hearing in this political circle now. I only sympathize with it because election must happen according to a calendar. It's called electoral calendar, right? But let me tell you the truth. I am more concerned about the vision I and people like us and what we are doing here are trying to create. Because if we don't, imagine this in 10 years, Jamilu. So because of what I do, when I plug myself to this program, I'm not looking at what I'm doing now or today. Though I'm here present and I'm here prepared. But you know what I'm looking at? 10 years to come, this platform becoming the platform that everybody comes, your religion, your tribe, nonetheless, we come to melt here to make us as leaders to shift. That's what I'm saying. And that is why people seated here, how can I permit you to just do anyhow? We're talking about serious business to influence society. And we are talking about world class. Does a world class leader come late? Does a world class leader, is he sloppy in engagement? The answer is no. It's actually a mindset. So thank you for all your contributions. Let me say one or two things so that I can move. Nations are highly intentional. No everything is a system, isn't it? So systems, a plane is going to take off at 7 o'clock and land in a country by 7:45. I hope you know it's a system. There are many, system means interconnected activity to give a desired output. And I'm going to be talking about that very soon. So let me say something here and take it as I begin to plan to wrap up very soon. There are global opportunities meant for us to leverage, and let me just run it so that I can take you into where we are going. In the world, I'm not now talking about Nigeria again, because the world is now connected. To be talking about globalization now is to be talking like we don't know what we are doing. People maybe from China are listening to us right now. Is that true? If we're on Facebook Live. Is that true? Now, there are opportunities we need to leverage so that you can understand what we are going to as leaders and what we are going to do. Number one, we have a rise in technology. Is that true? Whatever you see about the rise in technology now, the best has still not come out. Can you imagine that? And that in the rise of technology happening, especially in the digital space, everything is possible. You can buy a hair in India for $30. You can sell it, that same hair, human hair, in China or in America for $250. Yet, when you are doing that transaction, you did not leave television. It was on your device and phone call. Food security. Plateau State, Benue State, to the best of my knowledge, can feed Nigeria. I went to Adamawa some years ago. There's a farm there's a community in Adamawa. There's another community in Borno. Before this insurgency, that I learned, that you know it, I'm sure, that slaughters cow worth more than 6 billion every Friday. Did you get that? Did you hear what I said? And I'm now happy now government has introduced a policy against pomo. Those of you that like eating pomo, please, let us save it for shoes. You know, in that market, they sell the blood, they sell the bone, they sell the skin, and they sell the meat. At the end of the day, there's nothing about that. That cow has finished. Government now say we need to keep that skin. Can you imagine the kind of cow skin would have been exporting to the world by the reason of this volume of sales? Only in 2 states, in Borno State and in Adamawa State. I'm not talking about every other state that slaughters. Every state has a cow slaughter market. Is that not true? And I hope you know that, me and you know that any business you want to do now that you do food, you still make money out of it. But there's something called food security. There's going to be a food crisis already happening. Globally, you can do something logistics-wise and be exchanging food. We also have what we call peace studies. I've already talked about peace studies. I will not talk about it. We have what I call interest-based international relations. I hope you know that everything everybody is doing in the world is based on its interest. Is that not true? Our own interest on this platform is that we want to produce leaders who will influence their society. That's our interest. And I like what the Reverend said. It does not matter whether you are in any kind of religion. Tell me one thing you like in any of the faiths you see that you feel that if we get together, we are going to achieve. We lost our humanity. We lost our values. We lost the heart of love. We even lost the love for humanity. How can you see somebody begging and you see someone and you pass? Your heart does not even move. We lost our sense of what it means to be human. We lost our sense of what it means to create a nation. I like the interview that I saw General IBB gave last year on his birthday on Arise TV, if I'm not mistaken. Go and check it online. He made a confession that a lot of people are saying. I say, thank God, we are now saying the same thing. And I like what you talked yesterday about debates. I'll be talking about narratives this evening. He said, I think what we tried to do was to form a country. You know how he talks? But we were not able to form a nation. We tried during our time to integrate different sets of people into what we are doing, not making it lopsided. But I think that is the part that we lost it. I say, thank you. Go and watch it, please. I say, very, very good. They lost the opportunity to create a nation. What we are fighting now is because we are not a nation. So anybody has an opportunity globally, especially from Africa and especially for the biggest nation in Africa, which is Nigeria, who will have an interest. This is an opportunity. I'm a consultant. I'm a businessman. The best thing I've now learned in life in business is that I look for opportunities. I look for opportunities. Because I think that's actually what God gave men. No man is disadvantaged, even the one that did not go to school. If he knows what to do with an opportunity and he has a vision, he will equal. So even this that I've said is an interest. Who will merge Nigeria to become one? It's an interest. It's our interest. Making Nigeria united for a prosperous Nigeria, not for just a united Nigeria, because some people believe in one Nigeria, and that's where it ends. That one Nigeria is full stop. Boom. Anyhow that one Nigeria happens, that is how it should be. Some people say, no, it is one Nigeria with justice, with equity, and with progress. That's another interest. Is that not true? Now, any group of people that has that kind of interest, the way you organize around it will make you to become a leader that has made a shift. Another global opportunity we have is what? Population increase. There's something I want to say here. Business people and anything you want, in fact, including this kind of program, because I'm very big on mobilization. Nigeria is supposedly 200 million, right? Some people say it's slightly increased. Is that not true? 20% of 200 million is what? Everybody answer me, is what? Is what? Is what? Please, I need you to answer. Give me your voice. 20% of 200 million is what? Is somebody saying 40? Oh, sorry. 10% of 200 million is what? Is 20. 10% of that. 10% of that is what? 10% of that is what? Come again? Is it my ear? I want to hear your voice, please. Is how many? 20,000. 10% of 20,000 is what? 10% of 2,000 is what? Please, talk now. Jamilu, please, next time, let's get more youths here. I'm not joking. No. They are the ones that enter the promised land. Those of you that are here, cooperate, because it's an opportunity for us to now enter the promised land with Daddy. Daddy has already entered. Let us help him to enter too. So, please give me your voice. 20% of 200 is how many? Is what? 20%, 10% of 200 is what? 10% of that is what? Let me tell you what it means in nation building and in business. If I have a product that I brought, say, for example, Kunu Aya here today, excuse me, will I sell 2 Kunu Aya in this meeting? In all honesty. No, now, I brought Kunu Aya to sell and I brought 2. Inside this meeting, will I sell? The answer is yes, please. It's yes. As you saw me like this, I come with my Kunu Aya, I say, I come from Abuja, I finish speaking. If you drink this Kunu Aya, you're likely to live longer. And I brought it here. Will you buy? Will you buy? Okay. More than 20 people here. If I brought that 20 by the reason of this platform and the Kunu Aya was 200, I now decide I want to just sell it 50. Just for you to, so that after taking it, you patronize me. Will 20 people buy? Because I know that all of you here have 15 in your pocket. If I now brought 200 of Kunu Aya, excuse me, I need marketing at that stage. So people inside here will buy, people in this street will buy, people maybe before maybe or probably, but most probably at television, my 200 pieces will finish. Is that true? Okay, let me ask you, when I now bring 2,000, will I be the one marketing it? Will I be the one publicizing it? At this stage, I need sophistication around that business. I need a team, I need a marketer, I need my finance person, I need to oversee it. I will now create a system. Because right now, 2,000 bottles of Kunu Aya in one day is now literally a business. It's not hustle. Hustle is 2. Hustle is 20. 200, they are a bit serious. By 2,000, it will enter Sabo and enter Banawa. The senior brother of 20% again after 2,000 is what? 20,000. Excuse me. 20,000 will require machines to produce. Is that true? Bigger team. It's now a factory. Is that not true? Branding, advertisement, billboard. By the time we are going to enter 200,000 per day, it's an industry. Full-blown industry. We need to use technology from start to finish. The best brand manager must be working with us. Take that 200,000 to what? 2 million. So let me stop at 2 million because I'll tell you what happens from 2 million, 20 million before 200 million. At 2 million, 20 million, and 200 million, it's either Dangote or government. Dangote is not just a company or whatever company it is. You now become what? An industrialist. It's not just an ordinary industry. I hope you know that government is the only one that has ability to sell things everywhere, isn't it, in a geographical space? So they may give you regulation, or they may partner with you, but you cannot do it. What I'm trying to say is that from 2 to 2 million, there are different levels of thinking in business to achieve. When I started business, I started with 1,000. And according to the principle that say one will chase what? 1,000. Meaning that every human being is supposed to think, first of all, from the point of 1,000. Next year is 1,000 people. Either online, physical, 1,000 people. Minimum. It is now going to be sophistication of thinking to make sure that program becomes like that. When we go online, you know what I did? So that you can understand what I'm doing, because we are very careful, we are very technical. Time is going, but I hope I can finish now or soon. I went to your Facebook page. From your preparation of this conference till today, your highest click for this program was 18. No share, no comment. Did you hear what I said? Nobody shared, nobody commented. The highest likes was how many? 18. So what am I trying to say? If it's going to, I'm bringing this so that you can now start changing your thinking in leadership. There is something you will do to get shares, to get likes, to get what? Comments. It is not just dropping off a flyer. And that is actually where I'm going to go, and that's what I'm trying to do today. Such that even in what you do or what we do, you need sophistication. The way to do 2 is different from 20. From 20 is different from 2,000. Is that true? So permit me to say something. This is where now, permit me to use a Nigeria word. Oyinbo look like, say, the past black man. Oyinbo pays attention to details and pays attention to systems. Anybody that is going to build Nigeria right now, today as I'm talking, and that is the generation we are trying to raise. That's why we are not playing games with this thing. This thing is no more motivation again. Like Daddy said, I believe it will happen now. How? Anytime people say, oh, that's positive thinking, I beg, leave it. Because there are certain people that are not here, but their level of sophistication of making 2 to be 200,000, forget it, it's not in this room. When I mean it's not in this room, it's not the way you think they are thinking, or you might be thinking now. These guys understand the numbers game. These guys know what to do, the strategy you need to put, the finance you need to put, the mobilization you need to put, the coercing you need to put, the lobbying you need to do, the sacrifice you have to put. Because nation building, it is like this. In my street, I'm in the security committee. I've now understood that it takes one man to stand for everything to keep on working. Just one man who will not just give up. And I've seen everything. I've seen everybody's character. I swallow everybody back. Because if I can't do it on my street, how will I do it in the local government level? How will I do it when I become a president or a governor? How will I do it when I'm commanding men in thousands? So I also learned the art of what I call sophistication. Don't do things the way people are doing it. That's how you do something. So I'm learning and I'm training myself, and I know that's what we're all doing, on to sell trust and to buy trust. Jamilu, please, officially 1 hour is okay, but let me just do my next 15 minutes. If we can still talk, we'll talk. Or my 1 hour does hit. Another opportunity, so I'm talking about population increase. Can I tell you that even the population increase is an opportunity on the digital space? Let me tell you how these things work. If you go to your sponsored ad on Facebook or Instagram, listen to this thing I want to tell you. And you see somebody advertising something. You know what I always check? Number of comments, number of likes. Open those comment section, you hear how much. Have you seen those kind of things? Usually all those how much you see, they will buy you. Now it depends on also the reach, what you call sponsored ad. You boost it. That will make more people to come and buy. I've watched a particular company on their days of trying to start their business. You know what they were looking for? They were looking for wholesalers. And truly speaking, wholesalers were coming. Right now, that lady, when I go to her Facebook, she sells perfume. She doesn't do wholesalers. In my mind, I know she has already maxed out. Because wholesalers are doing the work. So that strategy of wholesalers needed and it has passed, that era has passed. That time you will see 2,000 likes. You will see more than 800 comments. That is patronage. Are you getting me? Now, for everything you are going to do now, remember, in your business, in what we are doing in this place, I told somebody, I say, there's an aspect of my business or biography that we're trying to very hard to rebrand it. I said, when I come up, when we are finished, we may finish maybe this month, and I've been on this journey for over 2 years. I will not be gentle in my pricing, because I discovered that one of the biggest problems of even people is how to price what you are doing, what you are giving. So my minimum service may be 3.5 million. He says, is it not high? I say high. Am I looking for 2? Am I looking for 20? I know that that number of 1,000 who will give me that money, they are inside this country. Okay, so those of us that are concerned about what we are listening today, for example, when I sat here, I shared to different groups, and I know in that groups, minimum of 3 persons will listen to it. I shared on my Facebook story. I choose certain set of people and I shared to them. If everybody here is doing the same thing, do you know how many people will be watching this program right now? So I discovered something. Always use population increase. I'm talking about 200 million. I'm not talking about Africa. I'm not talking about the global world. In 5-10 years, anything I will be doing, it can never be local. It can never be even Nigeria. It can never be Africa. It must be global. Even anything you think in the digital space. So when I'm talking about global opportunities, I'm telling you that anywhere that there is numbers, there are people to fill that numbers. Let me tell you something. You know, people attract who they are, isn't it? Eh? Some people want to go to Living Faith because they feel that Living Faith will attract to them, isn't it? Some people want to go the one that they are not wearing shoes. You understand? Do you know in what we do in leadership, there are the people that are waiting to hear this thing we are doing. The question is that how do we reach them? In your business, in whatever you are doing, there are people that like you, they appreciate your kind of person. Trust me, the only problem is that they are not hearing about you. That's all. Anything you must do to make them to hear about you, especially in the digital space, you must do it. Because right now, the world, as real as it is online, I mean real time, as I see you, it is more real online. No? It's actually the population in the cloud. There are people in the cloud. Say cloud. That is where they belong. So, non-governmental institutions, cultural production, cooperatives. I'm rushing, so I'll talk about cooperatives. Excuse me, I hope you know that the greatest thing that can change any society is cooperatives. How many of you are in a cooperative? Okay, sir. It's a good your cooperative is good? Which company is that? Okay. Daddy, you are in KRPC now, okay? Daddy, were you in KRPC? KRPC of Get Dogara when he was the president. Yes, in Abuja they have an estate. So people from a cooperative built an estate. Some people from their cooperative, they buy cars. Is that not true? Okay, let me give you an idea. On the digital space, remember we are talking about digital community. Can I have a cooperative of people who, when I sell trust, I can have minimum for the first maybe 1 year, 1,000 people who will join and say, this online cooperative, we believe in you. Minimum of maybe say 100 naira they contribute. And because you maximize their trust, the cooperative grew to 10,000. Then in 1 year, they grew to 1,000. By the time they grew to 1,000, we used to be collecting 100 naira. In case you're even still collecting 100 naira, 100 times 100,000, how much is that? How much is that? You don't like, see, if you don't like numbers, you can never be rich. Oh. That's the secret of an Igbo man. Oh. They like numbers. They have calculators that can do all the zeros. 100 naira times 100 million, how much is that? Who is helping me now? Jemilu? Eh? Yes, 100, how much is that? Is it 10 million? Okay, that's 10 million. Make it 1,000 naira, because 1,000 naira, even in secondary schools, they can. 1,000 times 100 million, how much is that? 100 million. If that 100,000 people graduate to, let's say, 500,000 at 100. See, what I'm just trying to say that in your very eye, that small idea of selling trust in 1 year can generate 1 billion naira. And yet, what do you do with these cooperatives? If you have small intervention project of maybe 100,000, we can give you from this still, then your own job in that online cooperative is to ensure that there's integrity in it. Is that not true? You are giving people money you don't know. Then you must. So that thing of how do you do it, that is what I'm leaving for you to answer. That is what people answer and they enter business. Do you get me? Do you get me? Population increase, always an opportunity. Cooperatives is a global opportunity. Remember, this cooperatives I'm talking about, I'm not talking about cooperatives here within Nigeria. I'm talking about cooperatives that can even be how? Global. Is that not true? What about content creators, the business of narratives? The business of narratives, content creator, it was just last week I started studying about them. And I knew that all this concept of short skits on Facebook, Mr. Macaroni, Brain Jotter, all these people, I never knew that the minimum some of them make a month for that thing is $70,000. Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? They are creating content. They are loading it online. You think they are wasting their time with the multiple views you are seeing every day. You go to Mr. Macaroni's page, you are seeing 2,000 views every day. You are laughing. Mr. Macaroni, by the way, I know him. I mentored him at a point in time. He's not a comedian. No. Mr. Macaroni is an activist. In fact, when they brought him to me, it was to tame him. Not really tame, but to make sure that he's in the correct atmosphere. And when I met him, because what I saw in him, I saw in me, maybe they didn't just understood him. I just say, I gave him books to read, and just be fine. Be coming to the office, be going and going. Maybe like 5 years ago. So I know that Debo is not Mr. Macaroni. Debo is an activist. You saw him now during NSAS, right? But he has now gotten a source of income. That thing is called, what is that thing he's doing, Mr. Macaroni? Content creators, all of you here can create content. That's why I want to disabuse all of your mind here. Nobody is old. Nobody is old and nobody is too young. Get to study in 6 months, you'll change the game. The next part is what? Enterprise. And I'm not going to talk about enterprise because when I mean enterprise, and by the way, I put it red and I put it last, and it's intentional. Business on the social media space, on the digital world, you have what you call e-commerce, creation of app, you have blockchain. I really don't want to put my mind in cryptocurrencies. Some people are doing what they call cryptocurrencies. Some people are doing what they call content creation, getting money. People are doing different things and they are making money. So everything I showed you here are things that if you see as a leader who wants to make a shift, you can take advantage of. Now, there's something I call a movement construct. So listen, every intelligentsia, any group of people that comes together who are enlightened, who share the same visions and want to change something in their society, they actually start like a movement. They don't really start like an organization like that. Sometimes they may not even have an office. Sometimes they're just a group of people sitting down, discussing. That is why by the time they want to start raising funds, they look like they're looking inward and everything. But I discovered that there are certain things, if we're going to take advantage in the global community, there are things we need to construct. That's why I call it a movement construct, because we are starting like a movement. But you need to construct something. Remember, I tell you, you need to create a nation, you need to shape it, and you need to sustain it. So, but you actually start as a movement. So don't worry yourself about subscription or I need to go to CAC to register, I need to have an, don't start, those are not where you need to start. The first thing I said is that you need to have an ideology. An ideology means that there is a compelling reason for why you do what you do. Most political parties are supposed to be ideological focused. Religious institutions are really just ideological platforms. Political parties are ideological platforms. If I want to start nutrition for children, because nutrition for children now is really terrible, I need to come up with an ideology. Is that not true? The next thing is to come up with what I call an identity. Identity in simple terms is that Nigerians still yet do not know who they are. Even in states, people are having problems with their identity. Now, as people who are going to be leaders to move a nation, I hope you know that we can create an identity construct. By the way, the identity construct some of us are creating is called the New Nigeria. Anything where you see New Nigeria now, although many are coming up now, but some of the things we are doing now, just know I'm part of that thing. It's intentional to put the word new. You soon see some political campaigns from some maybe aspirants. If you see the way it is with the excellence, know that I'm behind it. That new is a must, it must enter. Because we are trying to create, because there's a new Delhi, isn't it? There's a New York. There's going to be a new Nigeria. So the new Nigeria construct after their ideologies that we want to tell us that, no, we cannot keep on doing things like before. So we have to do it in a new way. We have to travel to just last week, and the bus driver that was taking me, I told him, say, if you don't reach this park around 6 o'clock, around 7 o'clock, they will leave us. You know what the bus driver said? Is it not Nigeria? It's not possible. I didn't say anything. I said, you will see. He drove me to the park. I'm telling you the truth. We arrived at the park 2 minutes to 7. The buses were already on their way going out. The guy was shocked. Me and my friend, we came late to because both also delayed my other friend. That other friend, in fact, the car had to stop on the road and pick him on the road. The driver, I told the driver, I said, there are people who are already entered the new Nigeria as a company. So there's an identity you need to give. You need to construct. There's an ideology you need to construct. There is a habit. So when you see me attacking you for not 12 is 12 or time is whatever, I'm dealing with your habit. You are your habit. Excuse me. Let's not. So I'm talking to world-class leaders. In case you think I'm harsh, I'm not harsh. Because world-class leaders they are not chickens, they are eagles. Excuse me, how dare you stroll to a meeting when the meeting starts 10 o'clock as a world-class leader? Or you go to UN and the next session is 10 o'clock. You know, to stroll in when you're late is easy here because nobody knows you. But can you enter a UN meeting where we took 5 of you from here to go? When it was 10, then you now be the one looking for your seat. Because you want to respect yourself in your UN as an African. You know, Nigeria, we know they carry last. You may not even go out when they say you should go out for tea break. Because in your mind, you don't want everybody to be seeing you when you are entering inside. So you rather sit and be pressing your phone. They thought that you don't want to go out. Now, like, you are trying to respect yourself. I'm dealing with your habit. It's the greatest problem, and I think it's so insignificant. But if we don't see, if we are dealing it with adults, what about children? What about your children? Because this is another generation that they have zero habit. You cannot be great without discipline. You cannot be great with a habit. So you need to construct a habit. Urinating on the road. Daddy talked about from your chill car. I used to drive and stop some of those people. I would just drive and say, what are you doing? You look at how you are. In fact, one day I did it for some people. They felt bad. I said, very good. I know you'll not do it again next time. You wind down your window. Does it look like that ground? And that day, what pain was? It's Kota in Jabi. Is it Jabi? You know Air Force NAV Conference Center, if you know Abuja. You wind down your window, you carried something and you throw on the road. Does that look like a trash can? That thing you don't want to keep in your car. Why are you putting it on the road? It's habit. The next one is social-political construct. We need to talk about how we're going to live social-politically. I will not talk about that. Your moral and your values construct. One of the greatest things that have happened to Nigeria, listen to me, is that it's not corruption. It's that our morals and our values. I'm talking about habits, but leave it. And I put it morals and values. I don't want to sound like I'm pushing you to live well or whatever. It is what it is. It's either you have morals or you have values. You need to make a construct online on the digital space for that. For example, just even teach people how to respectfully tell people how to talk. Do you know you can become a thought leader on that concept online? That is why Twitter have what we have community rules. Isn't that true? But if you create your own Twitter now and say, in this place, this is how people talk. If you talk like this, the app will delete you. Do you think people will misbehave on that app? Nobody will misbehave. Another construct you need to do is economic construct. Business. I won't talk much there. Another one is called media construct. So let me tell you something. And that's why we have hope for Nigeria. The biggest liars come from the media platform. I go on media, I've even reduced appearing on TV already because I now knew. In fact, there's a particular radio station. If I call their name, I don't want to call their name. Anytime they're inviting me, they will tell me something in passing. Then when I'm speaking, because they both have a TV and radio. In fact, they are the most covered radio station. So if you find it, that is it. I won't say it. I now discover anytime the guy comes, he just softly tells me that I now discover that they are using me when I come on their platform to say certain things. Meanwhile, we just answer like, when I realize it, I say, okay, very good. Excuse me. Right now, there are some people who use their YouTube channels to pass a particular message, whether bad or good, around the world. Are there people like that? And because they are using YouTube and they are passing a message that have more than 20,000 followers, YouTube pays them. Did you hear what I said? YouTube does what? I'm not talking about small money. So the media construct means that when you also go to the digital space, what are you going to be saying? Look, leadership is a concept. Leadership is a concept that we created, or the organizers created, right? If we get our construct very well and we go on YouTube, in Africa, because the black man must be liberated, whether he's living in diaspora or within Africa, I can tell you that we can get more than 100,000 million followers. That is the kind of thinking. By the way, let me shape your thinking in another level. It is a crime to think below the level of the created force you have in you. It's a crime. No, just take it from me. I bought a car recently, and when I bought that car, people were saying, ah! In fact, by the way, all the cars I've bought, apart from one Toyota, you know Toyota is friendly with fuel. So they say, ah! You are buying this car, it's economy. I say, I watch people all their life driving cars because of economy, of fuel. It's a mindset. Toyota is good. Parts are cheap. Conserve fuel. It's a mindset. You can leave that mindset till you die. In fact, you can also transfer that mindset to your children. So, you know what I did? Because I know that everything is mindset, and I know the creative force I have in me, and you have, but you don't want to recognize it. Until you become conscious, it will not become your reality. I say, that car sometimes takes me like maybe 13,000, 15,000 in a week. Since I bought it, I've never struggled. And I will not struggle. That's for fuel. Don't look at me like that, please. I don't have money plenty. If I even show you my account now, there's nothing much. But really, it has never failed. I have entered a thinking. When I'm telling you 200,000 people, when I'm telling you media construct and everything, it's a possibility. Let me tell you the truth. Do you know how rich this? See, they have raped this country right now. This country is bankrupt officially. I hope you know. Because we have been borrowing money. But do you know that in the midst of this thing, this country is still the richest country in the world. But you know that there are people that cannot bring out the wealth construct from this country. You know why? They don't even believe it's possible. They don't have the ability to see it. So when our time comes, Jemilu, there's no problem. We know what to do. The ones that are going fast now, they will get high blood pressure. They may kill them, assassin. You know those kind of things now. They may start eating. They have big belly. Look at me now. Am I not good for 43? My mates, some of them are like this. Some of them are having heart problem. When you start chopping when you're not supposed to chop, you know it's a problem. You show me this picture now in 10, 15 years, you know that I'm normal. I'm normal now. See it now. It's normal. Even Jemilu when Jemilu was in government, excuse me, how was Jemilu in government? Do you know, how many of you know Jemilu when Jemilu was in government? Jemilu started even walking like, I said, you're walking like your guy. Jemilu is trim now. You like how you are now, isn't it? That is the season. What I'm just trying to say is that all these constructs, so when I mean construct is that now you have to wrap your mind around these things and create it for where we are going. That's why I told you it's a technical session. Now follow me again as I wrap up. I won't talk about this, but let me just run it. There are examples of intelligentsias. Because of time, I'll just mention because I want to finish now. Go and check online about what I call the Federalist story. The Federalists are a group of people who came together because they refused them access to in the Supreme Court as conservatives and as Republicans. They vow, a group of people, a man, I've forgotten that his name, and say, you know what, in the history of America, we are going to be producing the highest number of Supreme Court judges so that they will always be upturning any bill that has to come and to defeat liberalism. You know, if you leave America, America is 100% liberal. Go and read about those group of people. Go and read about Nkrumah and Co. When Nkrumah got independence, it was not going to be independence of Ghana. It was independence of what? Africa. And intelligentsia. They came together. They started fighting for how Africa will become one. What about ANC? You know, you guys celebrate Mandela a lot. Mandela is not the star of that movie. The real star, in fact, I'm sure if you have heard the story, what people like Walter Sisulu, people who identify the young man, say, this man can be a good man who will run and do things in South Africa. People like this man that is Malema. Malema was just 9 years old, but he belonged to ANC. So you can imagine how a 9-year-old has passion and power at that time. Or like the current president, and people like Mandela, and people like Malema. Meaning that ANC, one of the oldest serving party, up till now, is still a value-based leader. It's a party that sentenced their president to... Zuma went to prison. Did the party support him? ANC is a strong political party. So it is not just Mandela that was the movie. It was the political base called ANC. Go and study about ANC. Remember, I'm telling you the role of intelligentsia in digital community. But I have to make illustrations, first of all, with what you see on ground. Right? What about concerned professional? Concerned professional, go online and check. A group of certain professionals in Nigeria. What's the name of this man? Dr. Obi Ezekosili. What's the name of this lawyer? A lot of them were people who started fighting Abacha, Babangida, for the sake of democracy. Some of them formed to what they call NADECO. You've heard of NADECO, isn't it? Okay. We have another group of people. I use that because we're in the north. How many of you have heard of Northern Elders Forum? But they have a face that always comes to speak. You know that man now, isn't it? Eh? Now, that group called Northern Elders Forum that claim to speak on behalf of the North, it's an intelligentsia. And when they speak, they form and they shape opinion. And they cause you sometimes to bend. That's called an intelligentsia. What about Bring Back Our Girls? Remember, they started as a movement. But let me ask you a question. They Bring Back Our Girls last the first year. They did 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6, demanding. When they were shouting, when the government first of all denied, and they kept on doing what they are doing, they said, how can they be taking, you kidnap our students? If you don't do something about it now, there's going to be a day that this is going to be normal. You know, nobody listening. As I speak to you now, our school's not shut because of that. Is it no more normal? So what they do right now is that since they've gotten almost all the girls released, they now have an official day when they have a conference to talk and discuss about Bring Back Our Girls. But you know that is an intelligence, a group of concerned people who brought themselves together. What about Twitter? Why did I put Twitter there? Twitter is a very interesting online platform. So I brought you illustrations that you may understand. I now took you to Twitter. Twitter, Donald Trump as a billionaire did not win because he used billions to win. Meanwhile, almost all the presidential candidates that have come before him in America, his organization will even support them with hundreds of millions of dollars. But by the time he came out as the president, that's why a rich man is in psychology. He didn't use his money. What did he use? What did he use? Twitter. He leveraged on an online community. Even when he became a president, his problem was where? On Twitter. Because Twitter is where you can put your narratives out. And because it's a personality, I don't need to spend money. When you create a narrative, it's not about money. It's about followership. Because when people follow you as a leader, what will happen to you? You will cause them to shift. Is that not true? Any leader that is not making people shift is not doing leadership. If I'm mentoring somebody and I'm engaged with somebody as a friend and everything, the first thing I want to profile in the person, two things. Number one, is he a wise or a foolish person? You know, everybody is in that category, even all of you looking at me here. When you manifest, I'll know where, so I'll put you where you belong to. Because the quicker I start categorizing you, the more I can work with you better. The second thing after I do that one, I want to check this person, what worldview shapes his life or what he does. So based on your worldview, you know some people, your worldview is religious. Some is what you learned in school. That's why every time you like to speak grammar, you think that is by grammar. Some people's worldview is that because there's money in their pocket, anything is permissible. When I know your worldview, I now know how I will communicate to you. Remember, first of all, I profiled you whether you're wise or foolish. The goal, when I start dealing with that person as a leader, is to shift that person to the right construct. Because of these things I said, a wise person always wants to learn. So he's always open to learn. So you can also learn from him because his mind is open. Isn't it? All these things I'm saying, even on the digital space, you will still find it. So Twitter is something that we can do this conference and we do what they call a Twitter conference. And maybe today in the whole of Nigeria, it will be the most tweeted thing all around. Is that not true? Meaning that everybody around Nigeria or any part of the world, they will know what we are doing in this place. That thing is a big mind shaper in the world. And it's just an app. It's just an app. Another one we have is what? Online communities. Now, you see me putting question mark there. You know why I put question mark? Because the possibilities, they are endless. So now Twitter has what we call Twitter space, isn't it? On Facebook, you have things you want to do. There are different online communities where you can have different chat forums and influence people. It is much. We can take advantage of that. Okay? So, as we wrap up, I'm going to talk about a digital citizen as an intelligentsia. These are the things that characterize him. Number one, he's a patriot with a vision. Who is a patriot? A patriot is anybody that loves his nation. You know, there are sometimes, I don't know whether it happens here or this morning, that when you sing the national anthem, your hair will rise. How many of you used to have that experience? When you sing the national anthem, your hair will rise. You are not spiritual. Daddy, look, you know the meaning of that? The thing has entered your spirit. It has entered your subconscious. You are not muttering words. When S.A. Brumer was taking the national anthem when she collected that prize, I hope you know many people were crying because they saw her crying. At that stage, you know what was happening to her? Love. She was a victim love for her country, forgiving what Nigeria did for her, and many people cried, just watching her crying because she was receiving the national. Is it S.A. Brumer or Toby? It's Toby, right? It was Toby Amonso, not S.A. Brumer. Can I tell you something? Daddy talked about burden this morning. a true digital citizen. Because let me say something. Thank you that I remember this thing I want to say. This concept of digital citizen, which is one of the best things that happened to this conference, and even for myself as I started preparing for it, is not popular. Did you hear what I said? You see this thing I'm teaching here? I'm giving you people the slide. Go and multiply it in your teaching. Please give credit, isn't it? But me too, this thing now is going to become a book. I write. I'm going to turn this thing I'm presenting to you as a book. Digital citizen is the next global opportunity. Did you hear what I said? It's the next global opportunity. Because online, there are different nations online, but there are different nations doing anything they want, forming different communities, talking different kind of things. It is now your turn now as a digital citizen who wants to build a nation to now say, based on the opportunities I showed you, based on those movement constructs I showed you, to now say, now I'm going to do this thing, but first of all, because you cannot do anything you don't love. So if I give my body to be born, Daddy, I love what you said. So much wisdom, people never understood. A Christian or Muslim, say deny Christ, say I deny Christ. You just die for nothing and go to hell. Christian or Muslim, what are you even saying? I don't even know what you're saying. Don't worry, I know it's a mind shift. It's a table that we are shaking. But it's a good table. Don't worry. Many things are about changing in 5, 10 years. Everything you believe now will change that time. Don't worry. I don't need to even talk about it. But I'll tell you something. If you die for a God or a cause that you do not truly love, you just wasted your life. Oh. Have you not imagined that you can give all you have? You can give your body to be born. You can do all these things and you don't have love. So the question I used to ask people, say, who knew when you were doing those things that you did not have love in your heart? Did you hear what I said? If I give my body to be born, so people will say, hi, this guy is a martyr. He even died during NSAS for fighting for Nigeria. Or anytime you come to meet this guy, as long as it's anything for Nigeria, he will give you money to do it. I share all those things time he was doing it. Inside his heart, there was no love. But my question again is that who knew that there was no love? And he said that anytime you do anything like that, it is nothing. You know what nothing means? Not a thing. You cannot be a patriot for Nigeria with a vision as a digital citizen from an intelligentsia background, meaning we come together, if you don't have love in your heart for the nation you're trying to create. I've done this thing now for more than 7 years. That's why I'm not ready to be doing motivation again. If you are, I tell you as it is. If I need to attack you, I attack you, because the thing is not for gentlemen. Forming a nation, do you think it's easy? Check the men who are dealing with us. Are they ordinary men? Are they not strong men? Are they not wise men? I came for this program and started preparing for this program after I was invited graciously, because I know in my heart I have love for my country. I've taught nation building, and people who I taught, even people who, sorry to say, but people who I also look to, they will come back and ask me, say, but this thing that we are talking, the suffering and the things we are seeing, does it really work? And I have to start re-educating them again on what it means to believe why a country can be, in fact, literally, a nation will be saved if there are patriots in that country. My mates are doing House of Rep, going for doing many things. Engage them small. You will see the selfishness that will make that circle to continue inside of them. All these things I'm telling you, you will not be able to practice it if, truly speaking, your heart, you are not a patriot inside your heart. So first of all, you must be a patriot with a vision, because love never fails. Do me a favor. For the next 1 month, 1 day, 2 months, every day chant love never fails 100 times, 1,000 times. And tell me if you will not change in your thinking. You will tolerate everybody. You will hope everybody. You will believe everybody. Truly speaking, you will not be easily angered. You'll be much more patient. You'll be much more understanding. You'll be much more kinder. Because you are now a patriot with a vision. Number 2 is that you must be what? A value-based nationalist. Who is a nationalist? A nationalist is somebody that, patriot is love, eh? Nationalist is, he carried the matter for your head. Because sometimes you can love, you are not carrying it on your head. That's why when we talk about nationalists in Nigeria, immediately your mind will remember Nnamdi Azikiwe, you remember Herbert Macaulay, because in your mind, those were the only people you still remember as nationalists. I'm giving us a call this afternoon that we are not just talking about nationalists on the ground. We are talking about nationalists who are going to the digital communities. Do you get what we are trying to say today? But you must have a value. And that's why in bracket you see it says values. You must have values that you want to take up into that place. Why is Awolowo believed? Awolowo is believed because he believed that his people must have education, and he made his people to have education. Is that not true? And yet he was a nationalist. But in certain aspects, he was also a tribalist. That is why he was the one that brought out that famous quote that Nigeria is still a country, a geographical expression, is not yet a nation. Since that time, he said it up to now. But he was the man that made these people to go to school, whose people that up to now are still benefiting from going to for having education. He had a value for education because even himself trained himself. How can we train people with these things we are talking on the digital space for them to be nationalists? Is through the kind of values you take when you go to the digital space. Number 3, you must be a disruptor. Listen, right now, anything you are going to do in the world, if you are not disrupting, Jamila, I've taken our time, I'm so sorry. I'm truly sorry. It's you that is causing it. You are making me talk. You people are looking at me very seriously. Reduce the temperature. Me too, I will reduce. Please. To abuse time on this platform is a crime. So please forgive me, Jamila. And everybody forgive me. I'm not enjoying it, though. Don't think I'm enjoying it because I know the pains of nation building. But I have to communicate to you. So I will really stop in 5 minutes now, whether I finish my slide or not, because I need to respect this program. Disruptors. There is nothing I do in Nigeria if you are not disrupting. Everything. This is the hour of disruption. Nothing is going to work normally again if you want to get result now. Don't worry. In case you don't understand, go and start reading and listening and watching and observing. Everything is meant to be disrupted. Meaning that the thing is going. Peter Obi is a disruption, by the way. Against the widest imagination of everybody, and I sit with people and I hear things with men, nobody saw Peter Obi's movement coming. He scattered all the calculations, and up to now, it has still scattered. Disruption. A man wake up in Tunisia one day, got angry, and burnt himself. And that's how the beginning of the Arab Spring started. There's something I'm telling you based on this topic that we're looking at that you could start doing on the digital space as a digital citizen. What will happen? You will disrupt our political conversations. The third one or the next one is you are a reformer, you are an influencer, you are a culture shaper, and you are a futurist. Don't worry, check dictionary, you know the meaning of everything. Do you understand? Because I promise 5 minutes. There are 3 levels to engage. These are the 3 levels on how you need to engage. Okay? Then these are the objectives. Don't worry, everybody will receive this slide on how to engage. Now, anytime you want to do things, there are 3 ways of looking at it. Strategic means, what is that real thing that we want to do in the long term? So it becomes what we call your strategic objective. So let me give you an example of one now. So for example, on this one now, aligning of our collective strengths and network can be a strategic objective. So inside this meeting now, every one of us is doing a business or doing something. That we align our networks and align our individual strengths. So there's a reverend, there's a government person, there's an industrialist, there's a doctor. All of us will say, based on this thing now, first of all, this thing we are talking about is not hard though, but first of all, let us align our strength. Let's agree that our strength can give back to something. It's called a strategic objective. Do you understand me? Now, when you deal with your strategic objective, permit me just to move. You need to have what I call operational objectives. Listen, this part is the part that makes a white man and a black man 100% different. Let me explain it. Functional and flexible structures, meaning that people who will plan and do things, you have the best, they are functional in work, and they are flexible to adapt. Look, these 2 things cannot survive if you go to the digital community. You can be saying you are fighting power when we are physical, but when you go up there, you see the speed at which things change in the digital world sometimes is too fast. There's no rigid mindset in that place. So you need to have functional and effective structures. You need to have efficient and effective systems. Remember what I told you about systems? And you need to build adaptive teams with global focus. So I don't need to build a team that is just localized here. I can get somebody that's even in China, in Kenya, to come and work with what you are doing. Because we have a global focus of what we are trying to do. Now, finally, everything you do tactically, meaning that every big grammar I've said here, all the ideas you have here that you're already doing, you need to pass what I call the articulation process. Articulation process simply means, how do you get all these things I'm talking about? So usually, when I finish talking in a training, remember I told you that this particular thing I'm talking about, I use 3 hours to, first of all, lay the foundation. And after I finish the 3 hours, we go on a retreat on 3 days. Because you need to now bring all these things that I've said into a product or a service. So in the retreat, this is what we do in the retreat, the articulation process. Because at the end of the day, if we say everything and we cannot get to a SWOT analysis, we cannot determine the strategy we are going to engage, and you cannot determine what I call what, your programs and your projects for year 1 to 5, or your mobilization for resources. Because at the end of the day, you need to mobilize resources to do what you need to do. If you don't do all these things and come up with a blueprint, including what I've said this afternoon, it has finished though. This slide or this presentation, this is the most important part. I was too rushed to come to this part, but I think I needed to lay the foundation to come here. That is why at the end of the day, when you do number 1 to that number, you must do what I call action plans. Remember that action plan is in red. There is something you must do monthly and daily, and you must monitor and evaluate what you are doing. Let me tell you this thing. This thing I've talked about, 10 years plan, 20 years plan, is not hard on a digital space. What do we want to do now, for example, to add to the conversation? For example, oh, please, that the obedient movement is more superior than any movement. That if we come online, it will be something that we trend and everybody will get compliant to it. If you can answer that question, you are a true global citizen. There was something called hashtag BBOG, right? Including Michelle Obama, she was tweeting it. It went around the whole world. Bring Back Our Girls went around the whole world as a movement. It was successful because some digital citizens took it online, took it on the platform on Twitter, kept on tweeting it, and everybody that mattered. That is what it means to be a digital citizen. But I'm speaking digital citizen in the context of we coming from Africa or coming from Nigeria. I will stop at this point. I know you have gotten what we are saying, and thank you. I don't think I can take any feedback because I've abused the time. And forgive me. I'm not super. You really need to forgive me. You really forgive me. Clap, but forgive me first. Mr. Jemelu, thank you.
Thank you very much. Not to worry. You are coming back on stage. We are going into the panel session. You are part of it. So please, audience, write your questions on a piece of paper. We'll pass them to the moderator. We are going into the panel session now. You have the panelists. The moderator will drive the conversation with them. And then we'll come to a point where we'll take questions from the audience. So for those who have spoken to me about they have questions they want to ask, you will get an opportunity to ask the speaker that just finished speaking now, and then the first speaker that spoke, our visioneer, he will also, from his seat, if you direct a question at him, we will give him the mic to answer. So not to worry, you can start writing your questions while we just take 2-3 minutes to set the stage for the panelists. Thank you very much. If you need to stretch, stand up on your seat, but don't go far. If you want to go and ease yourself, the restroom is somewhere here, but just 2-3 minutes, and we will kick off the panel discussion. Thank you very much. Protocols, can we get these seats arranged, please? we invite our panelists. Protocol, you can help us get those outside.
So I promise you forever and for always. And girl, you are my sunshine, baby. Don't you go away. Ìyàwó mi, olólùfẹ́ mi, ọ̀rẹ́ mi.
All right, so we are going into our panel discussions now. And today, our first panelist that we have, he goes by the name Dr. Abdurazak Shaibu Labo. He is the PA to Honorable Bashir Zubairu Usman, who is the current flag bearer for Beningwari Giwa Federal House of Representatives. He's a medical doctor working with Barodiko Teaching Hospital. He is involved in the political space very well. Therefore, please make welcome Dr. Abdurazak Shaibu Labo to the stage. Welcome, sir. Next of our panelists goes by the name Yusuf Ishaku Goje. Yusuf Ishaku Goje is a young and passionate change agent driven by the conviction that everyone, regardless of status, has a fundamental human right to participate in governance, influence decisions that affect them, and as a result, enjoy a life of dignity and prosperity. He has been a development worker, an advocate of good governance and inclusive development for the past 14 years. He has worked with a number of non-governmental organizations as program officer both in Abuja and Kaduna. He is the founding convener and currently the head of leadership, governance, and advocacy of the Coalition of Associations for Leadership, Peace, Empowerment, and Development, based in Kaduna. Also, he's a founding partner of the Partnership for Issues-Based campaign in Nigeria and co-author of the Agenda radio program on Invicta FM, as well as lead partner of the Kaduna Anti-Corruption Network under a project supported by Aminu Kano Center for Democratic Studies, team lead of the Local Government Accountability Mechanism, and member of the Kaduna State Open Government Partnership. Please let's celebrate and make welcome Mr. Yusuf Ishak Goje. Our next panelist is also a dynamic young person, Mr. Mubarak Abdulganiu Al-Amir. He's a community project monitor, advocate for good governance and accountability, an outstanding leadership strategist, inspirational personal development coach who is captivating to his audience by telling them his true life story, the emancipator, as a thinker, a prolific writer, astute communicator, and managerial skills in leadership, teamwork, decision-making, and relationship management. He has attended a couple of training and certificate courses, both within and outside, and a recipient of many awards and recognition based on merit. So I want us to make welcome Mr. Abdul Ganiu Mubarak.
Everyone, I hope we're all excited to be here. So, without much further ado, I think we'll go straight to the questions. I think we know everyone who is sitting down here, and I believe we're learning. But before I go further, I would like to say something. We are all products of information. Everything we are came from information. Our characters, our behavior, everything. So we are what we hear. So I believe everything we've had today is supposed to reflect in our lives. And the best way we can pass this message to others is by doing it, not just saying it. So having said that, we'll go further to our questions. So I think I would start with Dr. Lavo. He's my very good friend, so I'll start with him. And he's also a politician, I believe. So having had everything, I guess even if you're not here yesterday, maybe you watched online too. Having had everything that has been said, how we can build our nation as citizens. In the forthcoming election, which is very, very important because whoever we choose to direct and lead us will affect each and every one of us individually. So how can we as citizens identify an exceptional leader that is genuine and really care about each and every one of us?
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, the question is how can we identify an individual that can lead the country forward? I'm not going to speak as a politician. I'm going to speak as a member of this panelist. So I will be sincere and try to do just to all the questions that I will ask. First, there are many candidates from different political parties that we have in the country, and I am very much sure that the popular candidates, we all knew them. They have been maybe leaders at a point in time in different capacities. They have track record. They have done a lot of things which we can use as a tool to judge them. However, there are some key words that some presenters use while presenting here, and I'm going to quote. Our reverend makes use of the word social skills. Who among them possess social skills that can unite someone from Delta State and someone that come from Borno State to see themselves as brothers and sisters? Who is the person that will carry all the 6 geopolitical zones we have in the country to mingle as a country, as a nation, not country, sorry, as a nation, and who have that, the word used, carry the pains of people at heart? I'm quoting you, sir. Who can feel the pains of people at heart, and who have the mindset of building a nation, not a country. If we can be able to identify a person with such qualities, who has the capacity and who has a good track record and willingness to provide effective services to the people, is the right person to be voted for. Please, let's all vote for him. He's the right person to carry the country.
That's a very excellent answer. I think I don't need to explain anything further. We should all go vote for someone who has our interest in heart, individually and as a nation, not as a country. I think that's something I learned today. We should build a nation, not a country. Being a country simply means we are divisible. So having said that, I would go to my next question. This will go for Mr. Tochukwu Emmanuel here, I think. Supposing we all take advantage of the digital space, because that's what you've been emphasizing on. If we all decide that, yes, we are going to take advantage of the digital space, what happens to manpower resource and the uneducated youth out there? Because, yeah, as he says, let me use Meduguri as a, you get me? So, many of those kids at the IDP camp, I don't think if you give them this phone, even this your small phone, they understand what is on it there. So how do we get everybody involved? Because everybody's moving to the digital space. But some of these people don't have these resources to make use of all these things. How do we get them and carry them along?
Okay, that's a very good question. So, and that's why I spoke about the intelligentsia. If you know that political parties, at the core of every political party at a national level, even here in Nigeria, the real intelligentsia among all of them, they may not be even up to 1,000. Okay? Now, what does that mean? It means that if you are a group of persons who come up to the online space to do anything you are supposed to do, your influence, which is going to be intangible in some cases, and in some cases, if it's the one that has to do with maybe bringing resources, is going to cascade to those kind of people. So, for example, in the digital space, we have seen how some people did a particular video of, I remember that girl some 2 years ago who could not go to school, and school fees, what's her name? Who remembers her name? But you know somebody did that video, it went online, and you know that the rest is history for that person, isn't it? Now, in the digital space, what happened? Somebody had the platform, somebody understood that platform and put her up there, and as I tell you, that lady, and there are several stories of like that. So that's just one example. So when it comes to like, when you bring the analogy of the IDP camp, I have one of my mentees, I tell her, she's right now, she goes to the IDP camp to give things every week. And I'm telling her, come out from that, going to give IDP children food. The people even sponsor her to do that, what she's doing, by the way, are a lot of people who sees what she writes and posts online on her WhatsApp story. And people just keep on contributing money to her, such that she's just collecting less than 100,000. But every time she goes to IDP camp, she gives things of over 60,000 every single week. So what I'm just trying to say is that a group of people who can come together, have an idea that can attract an influence that can work on the people in the society. That is how it will work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So if I understand him properly, even in your small space, you can make an effect. I like the fact that he used the little girl. I don't know if you could remember it, that went viral about her school fees. Yeah, she did it. There was no money to pay her school fees, but somebody saw her. And even, I think some days back, a little child that was involved in the Peter Obi rally. I saw something like that online, a very small girl. And then somebody volunteered and said he's ready to take school fees level to whatever level. He said maybe the parents of the girl might be more wealthier than he is. But that's the way. So in every way we can help. In our communities, little by little, as he said, even talking about the road, he used this place as an instance. So nothing is too small. That is what our phones are there for. Let's make use of. Okay, so Mr. Barak, okay, this question is for you. So, how can we make good use of our digital space in the forthcoming election to achieve free and fair election? Also in selecting excellent candidates at all levels of government, not just the president. It starts from the list, as from the local government to, I think, Jamil was talking about them. He listed them one after the other. In fact, I'm a victim because I don't even know how it works. I just know we have the presidency, we have the local government, we have House of Rep, but it goes down to the bottom. So many of us are not involved in it. Many of us, let me be very sincere. I think Papa said something about where all of us have sinned. I have never voted for any presidential candidate before. I felt it is not my business. I don't like Nigeria. But coming here, I think a lot of things have changed. I've got to my PDC, by the way. I decided at this time I would make an intentional effort. So how do we start? From the bottom route to the top.
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, I'm not speaking as an authority around any field. I'm speaking as a student who have learned from a number of persons and have just a few messages he would want to share. To pick it up from your last comment, let me give you this good news, that either you vote or you did not vote, you have voted. That you participate in governance and you refuse to participate is a decision that you have participated in. So that you refuse to vote for somebody for a reason, it means you have given other persons reasons for that person to emerge. That's one. And how to take advantage of digital space. I have seen a number of persons who would say that elections are not on social media. It is only somebody who has, with all humility, few level of information that would say that social media does not have a role to play in making sure somebody emerges. Why? Because social media play a role whereby they convince and confuse a number of persons to feel like this person is the right candidate. We're in a generation whereby we see somebody who attends burial, who attends birthday parties, who attends ceremonies as the most compassionate leader. We're in a generation whereby we see somebody who shares bags of rice and is giving out a token of money as the most competent leader. So, taking advantage of social media comes in a way whereby we bring up conversation around issue-based campaign. Speaking from experience, I'm a member of the Partnership for Issue-Based Campaign in Nigeria, by extension, the agenda, whereby we intend to document campaign promises made by politicians so that in the next 100 days after their inauguration into office, we can use it to hold them accountable. Why? Because we will not get the kind of leaders we want. We can only get the kind of leaders we negotiate for. Thank you for the honor. Because leadership, or let me say governance or election, is like marriage life and wedding. When you plan for a wedding and you're forgetting married life, that is why you have divorce cases. So in as much as election is not the key thing, it is just the door to enter a house. We should be bothered about what is inside the house than what is by the door. Because if we have good governance, where the president is coming from is not our business. Either the president worship God or he doesn't. So far he's coming to apply the rule of law and to use the constitution as his holy book, we don't want to get. So, but taking advantage of the digital space, like I said, is documenting campaign promises that all these politicians will come. There is an app that was developed that said that the current president just fulfill about just 4% of his campaign promises. So if we can have platforms as such that we can take advantage of, just like the agenda and the issue-based campaign, to take note of everything. Why? Because this election has gone beyond slogans and mantras. We are now in a generation whereby anybody we will vote for, either taking advantage of the digital space or any space, that person must be able to explain to us, either digitally or anywise, how he intends to curb insecurity, how he intends to address poverty, how he intends to address underdevelopment, and how he intends to address the drowning debt that Kaduna State and Nigeria by extension is in. Thank you.
So let me say something about what he said. Yesterday I was on Facebook and I was going through a post and I laughed about it, but it's not funny. So somebody said, I think a guy or a lady were like, whenever you go to the market to buy pepper from those women selling pepper, say make sure you have an interaction with them about this coming election. Not just this coming election, but whoever you choose to vote at any level. And then somebody was like, why must it be pepper? Why must it be the person selling pepper you use? The person said, if we don't advise them, all of us will see that pepper. And you are laughing, it's funny, but it's the truth. Because by the time you give that woman 5,000, she don't know who is who. She just knows somebody gave her 5,000. But we need to teach them not to sell their birthright. Because this vote is our birthright. Whoever who is the president of this country is our father. And if we put a bad father there, we, all his children, will suffer. So, Mr. Yusuf, this question is for you. I would use the last things you said to ask him a question.
What role can we as citizens play to factorize transformation in the area of poverty, insecurity, unemployment, kidnapping? There are so many of them. So as we citizens, what way can we?
Well, thank you very much. I want to start by appreciating the Diplomat Center for putting this together. Many might not really see what this place would birth, but for many of us, when I sat there, I had already made up my mind to be a volunteer starting today, because I've seen where we are heading to. But in line with your question and also aligning it with the theme for today, we are critically looking at the role of citizens, particularly the digital citizen. But first of all, who is a citizen is the question we need to reflect upon. And in school, they teach us is somebody by registration, by birth, naturalization, and all the misleading information that puts into our psyche. But the reality is this: for you to be a citizen, you need at least 4 factors to play out. 1, you have rights. But more important than your rights, you have roles, responsibilities, and duties. And it is until you perform your roles, responsibilities, and duties, you cannot activate your rights. So when we talk about poverty, when we talk about unemployment, we are just getting the result of what we sowed. Because the relationship that exists in government is that there's a demand and supply side of government. The quality of demand would always determine the quality of supply. We, the citizens, are the demand side of government by virtue of Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution, subsection 2A. Sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom the government derives all its powers and authority. And secondly, if you go to the B segment, it says the security and welfare of the people is the primary responsibility of government. But the most important part of that is C, which says the participation of the people in their government is guaranteed by the provisions of the people. And that participation means that what is the quality of engagement when we engage government? Is it the kind of engagement that will birth results? Or is it the kind of engagement that we use leaders as a way to vent our frustration, and we want to pull every leader down while we are not contributing anything to that process as we have it? So I think the legal question we need to answer, if the Constitution says we should participate, and democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and the people are not participating, then you cannot address issues that affect the people, which is poverty, which is unemployment, and what have you. So with the elections now, the only way we can bring about the change we want is not to be articulated, is not to be batified, is not to be obedient, and every other slogan that we put in, but to ensure that whoever we want to vote for reflects what we want as a people, our character, our aspiration as a people. Because the leaders are only a reflection of the people at the grassroots. So it's not about only changing the leader. So these are issues, and in our participation in 2023 election, it is not about the candidate. Everybody can use propaganda and branding to brand his image and sell to us. But the critical question we ask ourselves is, 1, what is his competence level? What is his character? What is his capacity? What is his commitment to the nation-building project? What is his compassion to issues? And all of these are easy to see as I conclude. Because when we talk about leadership, it is in 3 stages. It starts with the personal leadership. This individual I want to vote into office, how has he personally reflected the qualities of leadership that will be able to transform this nation? 2 is career leadership or professional leadership. Where this individual work, what kind of transformation has he been able to transform? Then 3 is people leadership. In his association, community association, in his cooperative group, probably he was once a president. How did he manage the resources of those associations? So when you put that, that is one. Lastly, you look at his plan. Anybody can hire a consultant to give you a beautiful plan. But the critical question you want to ask is, what will you do? How will you do it? Where will you get the resources to do it? And within 4 to 8 years, what results should we expect in terms of reduction of poverty, unemployment, insecurity, and all of these factors that you have talked about? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think in general, what he just says is that we are a reflection of our leaders. So if you don't like what you are receiving, change what you are giving. Okay, so this question will go to you, Lampo, Dr. Lampo. Ethnicity, nepotism, tribalism, and religion. How do we tackle these cankers that are responsible for the setback of the transformation of our nation and citizen? Everybody knows that's the truth. All these things are our problems. So how do we tackle it amongst ourselves? Because from what he says, it starts from us. So we amongst ourselves, how do we begin to tackle all these things? Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a very critical question at a very critical moment. If I am going to quote the Reverend when he was speaking, he said that there are some political parties that were already identified with a specific religion. And if you look at them critically, they are also going in that direction that people have identified them with. But however, among all the qualities that my friend listed now, please, is there religion in what he listed? No, no religion. That's one. So religion is not a criteria of choosing a leader. My brother Mubarak also said something. When he was speaking, he said, we don't care of whether you are what? You are worshiping God or you are not worshiping God. As far as we are concerned, you presented yourself to us as what? As a leader or a candidate that you want to lead this country. What we are going to look at, we are going to look at the 4C and the last D that my brother talked about, the competency, the character, your track record, and identify you with them so that we'll vote for you. But however, the issue of tribalism, the religious sentiment, etc. also is in us. It started even in our own community. That is why we are also having leaders at top that use those things and penetrate us. For instance, let's say I come from a community A and community B. Community A are Bodu and community B are Bagi. Let's say we live in the same community. And when it comes to the issue of leadership now, among Bagi people, probably Mr. A is very competent and he can lead. But however, Baju people is Kai. Do you think we should allow this Bagi to lead? If he lead, only their people will benefit. In fact, he's not going to. Meanwhile, he's a very good candidate that once he emerges, he's going to deliver effectively as a leader. But because this is not about religion now. Because he's not from our tribe, we are what? We will not allow him to lead. Meanwhile, what? Causing more harm to ourselves. Two, when it comes to the issue of religion, I have seen even in class, students want to select their class captain. Class captain. We are not talking about political offices. This is in school. Class captain. What they do is like, no, we must choose someone that comes from our religion. Please, how myopic are we thinking? How? They choose someone that is from their religion, and he in fact, they said they have never been in hell until when they appointed that person as a leader. When they change and bring the right person to lead them, they got what they want and they got the result. In fact, the learning atmosphere become very good for them. This thing happened to me. There was a time, I was one time a comrade in an association. The association had been in existence for about 20 years without a constitution because of our sentiment and selfish interests. Whenever election is taking place, we will just sit down and see who among this candidate or this aspirant can be manipulated. We can control. That's some people that call themselves stakeholders. They don't care. Okay, there are two people that are contesting, so this one is weak. So let's appoint this week as student union leader. Student leaders. Let's appoint this weak person so that we can get control. We can control him afterward. Meanwhile, the leadership is being divided into if a Muslim did, a Christian should do. I said, why? When I came on board, I said, I know nothing about religion. Please keep my religion aside. But why are we rotating leadership among religion? We are students. It either should be open, or if they are going to adopt any system that Nigeria divide our country or our state, let's adopt it. Okay, how many zones do we have in this state? We have 3 zones. Okay, let the leadership be in the 3 zones, or anybody that have the quality or capacity they can be able, that students want, should be allowed to vote. And interestingly, like surprisingly, about 80% of those that claimed they are leaders of the students' union are not even students. They are not students. Most of them are graduates. Some of them doesn't even know the way to the school they claim to represent. So what we did, we tried to remove religion out of it and bring in people that are capable. And I'm telling you now, students have good leaders that are representing them. So we keep religion aside and we say, okay, let's competency, capability, and ability to deliver quality service be criteria for selected leaders. And we succeed. So now, in Nigeria, also, same thing is happening. Now we have 3 different people, 3 leading candidates contesting for the president of Nigeria, and they are candidates from their political party. One, we have the APC. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is from the APC and is from Southwest. He's a Yoruba man. We have Peter Obi and he's from the Southeast and he's an Igbo man. And we have Rabi Musa Konkoso, a Hausa man from Kano State. So, and Nigeria is popularly known by 3 tribes: Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. So now, I don't know what will happen. Are we going to elect them based on sentiment? I said, okay, all Yoruba should vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, all Igbo should vote for Peter Obi, and all Hausa should vote for Rabi Musa Konkoso. And in doing that, we can be able to elect either someone that is old and is not capable of leading this country, or we can be able to elect or bring someone that can only lead his region, not the entire country, or we can be able to elect someone that has already won the trust of his people to occupy the position of the presidency. Meanwhile, there is so much debate on religion, which I don't want to go details on it, but as I said earlier, if we are going to keep sentiment, religion aside, look at these 3 candidates, who among them? Who among them? One, have rule of law, regulatory control, effectiveness in governance, control of corruption. Once we can be able to identify these as well as its antecedents, let's vote for that person. I'm sure we can be able to get what we want as a country.
Thank you very much. So yesterday in the evening when Daddy was speaking, he said something about babies. Babies don't know colors. But constantly when they watch something for a long period of time, they recognize that person. And I think what Dr. Lampo is simply saying is that we should start from the grassroots. Training children, we train our children when they are very little. My brother used to say something, he said when you want to raise, the only reason a child grows up and is responsible is because when he was 1 year old, his mother taught him to say good morning to everybody they meet. So if we are going to effect this change, from our little children, we should not teach them difference. Whether he is Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Efik, whatever tribe he is a Nigerian, he's your brother. I don't know if you know Mr. Macaroni, some of us that know this comedian, Mr. Macaroni. I was on Twitter and I think something about this Lagos APC something, they were like, why is he coming to Lagos to come and campaign for whoever he's campaigning for, that he should go to his state? And I said something. It is very, very wrong. Whoever is saying that is very wrong. He is a Nigerian. If he is in Lagos, he is from Lagos State. If he's in Kaduna, he's from Kaduna State. If you are in Abuja, you are from Abuja. It doesn't matter where you find yourself. You are a Nigerian. So I want us to embed this thing in our heart and in our mind. Whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whether you worship, whatever it is, with all due respect, you are a Nigerian first. We are all human beings. We should treat each other with love and dignity and respect. And then it will reflect in our leaders. So there's a question here from the audience, and it relates with my question, and it was actually for you, Mr. Atochukwu. So it's the same thing, so I will just use mine. We are knowledgeable of the side effects of the digital space. But how do we exercise self-control and discipline with our current situation in the country? Many of our youth are given to, we know what it's called now, Yahoo Yahoo. It's like the easiest way and the fastest route. But the digital space, you've said so many things, so many things. In fact, I learned a lot because I'm an entrepreneur and I do most of my business online. So how do we indoctrinate our young people to take good advantage of this? It's so bad. Every time they're online, they're doing something wrong. So how do we exercise self-control and discipline to use it rightly?
Thank you very much. Let me just read. I think, knowledge evolves. So even me myself that was preparing for this was one aspect I did not capture in my presentation. But let me just read you what I just wrote in my notes here, so that you know that this answer came and I've already gotten the answer. And that whoever asks this answer, this is something. I wrote, digital citizens need to learn how to deepen community rules. In brackets, I put constitution. Then under, I wrote an imperative. So what does that mean? Maybe one of the things that we need to start concentrating upon, remember I said that the digital space is the most adaptive and the fast running space in the whole world. And by the reason of research, in Africa and in the world, some years ago, Nigeria was 13 at the point number 8. We are almost the highest users of the internet globally. In fact, you'll be shocked how people in the world see us in our use of the online community. So to answer that question versus what I just wrote now, I think based on what I wrote, remember I talked about 8 constructs, right? One of those constructs was moral and values construct, right? Maybe one of the things some of us have to start to do is how to start to champion a moral construct on the online space. Number 2, if any of us begins to have an app or anything, come up with what I call your community rules and regulation. You know Twitter has regulations, right? And if you default it, they will remove you. And many people are now beginning to fight the Twitter regulation because they say you are stifling their right of expression, of freedom. Now, what has happened in the world, and that is one of the things I said before I came for this program, and that's what we are doing now, and possibly maybe we'll do it towards the end of this. As somebody who speaks to people all the time, I discovered that the best thing you can ever have from people is a feedback. So like what we're having here, those of you who are connecting with us, we are connecting with you people just because we are communicating. One of the greatest dangers that have happened to us in Africa or Nigeria is that, listen, from the time I was born, my teachers were speaking on my head. My parents were speaking on my head. I went to university or polytechnic, my teachers were speaking to my head. I went to NYC, they were speaking to my head. When I started to work, my boss started speaking to my head. So you know what happened? You did not evolve a culture where there's give and take back. So what has happened over the years, and that is what you are seeing in the younger generations on the online space, is that this is the only space that they can speak unregulated. They can speak their mind, they can abuse you now because maybe a good homework did not happen at home, or the society did not shape their value. This is the only space we have on earth to express. Then you will also notice that there's another generation, maybe a generation of 50 years upward, who are very sensitive about respect. So even when they are online, they don't normally denigrate people like how the younger generations denigrate. So I want to say, maybe some of us will take it as we champion that cause of a moral crusade or a value crusade online, even just to teach people on the principles of respect. Number 2 that I would like to say is that whether on the digital space or the physical space, because people, just like what you said, because people are angry, and trust me, anger is still part of the force that you need in this engagement. For me, I don't like to get angry at people again. It's a waste of emotion. But come and meet me on this fuel queue. Come and meet me in the bank. Come and meet me anywhere that has to do with order. You will see another side of me. That's what I reserve my anger for. Right? Yes, why should I quarrel with you? For what? The time I stopped quarreling with my wife at home, I had peace. You know, men, sometimes we just want to be doing that back and front. And my house is very peaceful. My children, everybody, anybody's around me, I don't but misbehave on the national space. And you see what I will do. Now, I think that we cannot stop people doing some of these things because it's just not Nigeria, it is global. How people are very vicious online. But because if you look at our national anthem, listen, it says, help our youth the truth to know. Help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow. Great lofty heights attain to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. So it means that some of us have a work to do to the youth. First of all, we need to let them to know what is the truth, how to grow in love, how for them to realize that it is them that great lofty heights will attain. They are the one that are going to do it. Because that is actually what that national anthem is saying. Let me be sincere with you. The work on the digital space is a lot of work. I don't know how to paint it for us to appreciate the gravity of it, but what I've known that even looking for money is a lot of work. Is that not true? These politicians that are campaigning now, it's not a lot of work they're doing. I can literally tell you, somebody was telling me the schedule of those people. I even fear that schedule. They have to take drugs to sleep because it is 24 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours. So I think to answer you, let's get community rules. Let's be more tolerant. Maybe one of the fallout from this conference in what you are doing is to champion a moral crusade that makes people to understand how to maintain values or morals. Remember that part I say, a moral construct. It may be something we can take out from this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's something Nancy used to say. I don't know if you watch AIT by 10, the morning show. Nancy, she used to say something. She said, be the change you want to see. Change begins with you. That thing you want somebody to do, that thing you want somebody to correct, that's what he's saying. Be it on social media, the way you address issues, the way you communicate with people online, or even when you see them physically or visually. Let them be that thing you want them to see. Let it start with us. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Mubarak, I think this question is for you. We are the most populous black nation, with diversity in religion, ethnicity, and all that, even in culture. Is it possible that with all these things that we call the problem, we can also use them as a factor to change things and make things better? All these things that are the cause of our problem, can we use them as a tool to build our nation and build ourselves individually?
Okay, thank you for that question. First and foremost, I think I am yet to see a problem that did not come together with its solution. So in as much as even while creating product, it comes with a manual. So we came into this world with a manual to solve our problems, but many of us buy the products neglecting to read the manual before we start using the product. We said we are the most populous African nation. I think we are not using that as an advantage. That we are the most populous nation, what has been the outcome of our population? Before I even talk about that, sorry, to talk about the last question, if there is anybody here who still sees differences of religion and everything, I am pleased to inform you that me and you share different religion, but we have poverty in common. We have bad roads in common. We have insecurity in common. We have unemployment in common. We have lack of facilities in our hospitals in common. So can we live outside those things? We can't. So in as much as we can't live outside those things, why can't we put that thing that is dividing us by the side and really face the main thing? Now, to extend the conversation a bit, is to ask a question that, honestly, how many persons here have read the Constitution of Nigeria? Why I ask that is because that is seen as the holy book of this country. In as much as you are a Christian, it is obligated by your conscience and by God for you to know the Bible. In as much you are a Muslim, it is obligated by the religion and by God for you to know the Quran. So in as much as you are a Christian, you read Bible, you are a Muslim, you read Quran, why haven't you read the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria? And why I am saying that is because there is a preamble in the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria that stated that we, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, having firmly and solemnly resolved to live in unity and harmony as one indivisible, an indissoluble sovereign nation under God, dedicated to the promotion of inter-African solidarity, world peace, international cooperation and understanding. So a number of persons that are still seeing division is because they are yet to read the holy book of the country. Because this is the first thing the country shows you in its holy book. Now, coming back to the population of Africa, by the way, our population, I don't see it decreasing, regardless of how many persons are dying by the day. Our population is on a rise, steady. Now, China is competing with America and a number of countries, not because they are the most religious country. Go to some places in China, maybe what they are worshiping is this microphone. But they are having the results they are meant to have. Why? Because the things they're supposed to place behind them are behind them, and they are engaging right principles. Why? Because the world as a whole is governed by fixed laws and fixed principles. It is a law that when we see division, progress will be a mirage. So I think the Leadershift Conference 2.0 will become another expensive exercise in futility if there is anybody who came here and still left with the mindset of division, especially when it has to do with religion, ethnicity, and a number of things. To round up, I think we must use our population as an advantage. China is a productive nation, even considering the fact that they have population. It's only in Nigeria you will see not by evening, you see a group of people sitting down, doing nothing. We're all thinking about consumption. An average Nigerian is thinking about consumption, not production. So for a country that are populous as such, that have made phenomenal progress and they have visible results, they did not have that result by praying. I hope you know Nigeria is one of the most religious nations, and insecurity is still bediviling us. It is because we are religious, but we are not God conscious. So in as much as that is it, so we must take our population as an advantage for us to have the results we are meant to have. And I think we the citizens have bigger roles, while also the government have bigger roles by providing opportunities for this population to have somewhere. I bet to say that this generation is more wiser than the former generation. I don't care if anybody believes or not. Gives us an enabling environment for us to thrive. And Nigeria will compete with the best country in the world. So it is because the population of Nigeria are not having to a level those available resources for us to prove our competence. When, for me, sitting before you, how many of you will vote for me if I want to be the president? Let's be honest. Yes, I know he will. But after him, I'm not sure of anybody else. Why? Because that is when they will start telling you he's a young person, he doesn't have the experience, and they will start bringing back history of my great-grandfather.
I think directly or indirectly, what I learned from what he said is, rather than praying for your enemies to die, it's funny, we all do it. But I think we should adopt a heart and a mind of love. There's this saying I learned a long time ago, that the best medication for any illness is love. Then somebody said, what if it doesn't work? I responded, increase the dose. I am telling you, if you have animals in your house, dogs, chicken, we have lots of them. I'm an animal person, I love them. Every morning I come out of the house, the chickens run after me because they know I always give them something. It doesn't matter where I go to. I could leave the house, I could travel for like a month or 2 or 3. If I come back, my dog still recognizes me because I show my dog love. That doesn't mean I don't beat the dog when it does something bad. That's what he's simply saying. We are humans. That is the most important thing. Religion, ethnicity, culture. I think what made every other country progress is because of love, humanity. The fact that I see you hurting and I care about you, irrespective of the fact that we have our differences. We would always have, husband and wife have differences. You heard what he said. He said something earlier on that we should try to do a chant of love 1,000 times. Is that not what you said? So trust me, constant hearing, you begin to do it. Try to love beyond mistakes. See yourself like, yes, me self, I dey do wrong things. I hurt people too. So if you see yourself as not the perfect person, you would love everybody. If we can love everybody, I bet you Nigeria will go far. Thank you very much. So this question is for you, Mr. Yusuf. There are people who have good ideas, leadership qualities, and skills. What happens when they get into office and we see them going off track? I think somebody said that today. One of our speakers talked about it. Somebody who has a very good plan, but when he gets there, he becomes influenced. How do we get this person back on track? How do we fix this?
All right, thank you very much. I just want to say that if you have an understanding of the past, to influence the present, and then you can predict the future. So just to take us back on a very short journey, in 1885, to avert a war in Europe, European countries came together and partitioned Africa. And it is at that level that the area called Nigeria and other African countries were shared among European countries in the world. And you know the reason why they shared Africa then? It was basically for economic reasons. And when they came into Africa, they started with slave trade. Why did they come in for slave trade? Because in Europe then, there was what was called the agricultural revolution. So they needed manpower to be able to farm their sugarcane farms and what have you. And that's why they went into slavery. When Europe industrialized, they no longer needed human power, they needed raw materials. So they now decided to say, okay, why not create railways from the hinterland of Africa to the ports, where they can export our cash crops then. And then they were even pushing people back to Africa because they no longer needed human labor. That was when they resettled people in where it's called today Sierra Leone and Liberia. When at that point they advanced a step further, they now decided that, well, why can't we now make this Africa our market? Train the people here, they will do everything here, then they give us the raw materials, then we refine the raw materials and bring it back to this point. So why am I saying this? The name Nigeria came out of a romantic expedition between Lord Lugard and Florence Shaw. Did I get her right? His girlfriend. It was in the spark of the enjoyment of romance, and she said, why don't we call this area Niger area? So if you look at it, from day one, this area called Nigeria was never created to work for Nigerians. It was created for administrative convenience to effectively exploit our resources in Nigeria. So, and what they have done is all the leaders from that era that they have groomed were leaders that they groomed to support this system of exploitation and to ensure that the people don't come together and be able to fight them back. They now introduce what is called divide and rule. That is where we have metamorphosed into politics of identity now. Religion, you have to come to it did not start today. The Europeans started it, handed it over to our post-independence leaders, and our post-independence leaders have handed it down to us. So the basic reason why people can talk out there, and when they get into office, they cannot function, because the system itself has been created for exploitation, not for development. So no matter how beautiful your ideas are, when you get there, every machinery of government is designed to only extract. So if you're unable to participate in that process, it will naturally pull you out. So what we need to do, like if you have read the book Why Nations Fail, is that the difference between the developed and the underdeveloped countries is not culture, It's not knowledge. It's not geographical territory. It is political and economic institutions. While in the developed countries, they have what is called inclusive political and economic institutions. In Africa, they created extractive political and economic institutions, where it is a rent-seeking system, that everything is not meant to see from the point of view of development, but how can I make money out of it? How can I aggregate this to me, myself, and I? I'll give an example. Let's not blame leaders. I had a uncle that became a commissioner in Kaduna State. He is a born-again Christian to the core. I don't want to say to the extreme. And he said he's not going to steal government money. He's going to only go there, do his work, and deliver on what he has been given mandate to do. And he went there, I assume, because I don't know that he wasn't corrupt. He wasn't giving money. He wasn't giving appointments that were not supposed to be given. It was from my community in our village that they were saying with him being there and not being there is the same thing. You get, so even if you go to office with the mindset to work, the people around you have the mindset that no, it is our turn. So they begin to put pressure on you. When it doesn't work, they follow you to the other room, meet your wife, who will now be putting more pressure on you to do the corruption because they feel it's their time to extract. So I think if really we want that change, then we must begin to build a new mindset. And building that mindset is not coming on social media to criticize government. Don't criticize government because you want government to fail. Criticize government because you want government to work. And you cannot do that when you don't participate. I participate fully in the governance of Kaduna State. I've never been a politician. I've never registered with any political party. But when it is time for budget, I participate. Because when you're not on the decision table, when those decisions are taken, you'll be like the patient dog who is under the table waiting for the bone. But the irony is that these days, the people on the table even eat the bone. So the patient dog will only sit down and bark till his energy saps away and might end up dying frustrated. So the key word for us is participation. If we want our leaders to work, we cannot sit down in our rooms and expect them to work. We must do two things. One, engage. From your counselor, don't even think of your president. What is the responsibility of your counselor? He's supposed to be getting some allowances or allocations on your behalf. What is he doing with it? Your chairman, what is he doing? All these elected officials, engage them, ask them questions, know what is happening in this system. I'll ask here, and I might even dash somebody money if in 1 second you can tell me what's the 2022 budget of Kaduna State. In 5 seconds. But that budget is what will determine whether there will be road in your community. It's that budget that will determine whether there will be drugs in the healthcare centers. It is that budget that determines whether there will be school for your children to be able to do. So you don't pay attention to these decisions. And you feel that the person that is there, that nobody is putting pressure on him to do the right thing, will just be touched by a God from heaven who said that even your faith without works is useless. So we must participate, demand for accountability. No project can be included in the budget. No project in your community, that can be executed without it first going into the budget. So if you don't have road in your community and you're insulting the governor or the president, it cannot help you. Because the budget is a law. By law, the governor or the president cannot spend outside the budget. So the first point of call is to lobby, put pressure to ensure that your issues get into the budget. That is the first stage. The second stage is to put pressure on them. When the resources come in, they allocate resources. Then the third point is to ensure that whoever is the contractor, because 70% of the money is being stolen in Nigeria is through contracts. The stealing happens when the contractor is supposed to do 9-inch block, but he brings 6-inch block. The difference is where they stole the money. That is even if they do it. So these are critical things. We cannot come and motivate ourselves and say, no, we must take practical steps. Digitization has liberalized not only information and communication, but governance. The budget of Kaduna State is online. The budget of the federal government is online. The Auditor General's report, where you can even see whether they are stealing the money or not, is online. So if we don't understand these documents, we don't engage, then it means that they will continue to take decisions on top of our heads. We'll be complaining and we'll be crying. And in nowhere in the world or in history where complaining and criticizing has changed government behavior. It is only our participation that would ensure that government would do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We should all participate at all levels. So we're going to have our final round of questions, and I would like you to also add your summary to it. I think I would give everybody maybe 2 minutes. Once you're answering your question, you also give it out together with your summary. Okay, 2 minutes, 30 seconds for your summary, 30 seconds. So I think this question goes for you, Dr. Labo. The will of the people is not reflected on the governance, which has brought about failure to deliver the divide of the democracy. How can we utilize the digital space to salvage the situation?
Okay, thank you very much. How can we use digital space to salvage the situation? The will of the people is not being implemented in the governance. You know, my brother just finished discussing on how things are being carried out in the governance. From the budget to the approval of the budget to the implementation and the outcome. However, we have a role to play in seeing that things are possible. Now, I'm going to make reference to especially to what we are going to get in 2023. For example, make example with Kaduna State and give us a way forward. For instance, there will be 2023 general election February 25th next year, God willing, and we want a free, fair, and credible election so that those we voted for are the ones that's emerged. However, there was an introduction of a digital network into the system to ensure the free, fair, and credible election we have been praying for. By the introduction of, I had Mr. Chooks talking about BVAS. That's the bimodal verification accreditation system that INEC introduced. There are 2 ways of verifying a voter, either through thumbprint or through facial, or through the facial capturing by the accreditation system. However, INEC said failure for an should I say, an online authentication that will let that person not to be allowed to vote. It's a good one because we have seen how it works in the not quite long election in Osun State. However, from that point, how can we also play a role in seeing that there is free, fair, and credible election in 2023? That's where we are going to start. One, we have to understand how the BVAS work. Aside the verification exercise, there is an e-transmission of result from polling units. You see, that means it's only one thing that is remaining for us, and I'm sure Mr. Chooks talked about it, about usually voting just like using ATM card. That's the only thing that is remaining for us now, since there will be e-transmission. So it is left on our own hands that if we can be able to monitor the system in such a way that we ensure that accreditation took place, 1, 2, the exact result from a polling unit, if total vote for party A is 20, party B is 40, and party C is 20, let that 20, 40, 20 be reflected in the that's by modal verification system e-result script before it's been sent to the INEC. That's one. Two, did we know the budget, the total budget that was submitted by the President to the National Assembly for the year 2023? Are we aware of it? Do we know how much the budget is? Do we know where those resources that he said he would spend, where the proposed site for the implementations are? Do we know what is for Kaduna State? Do we know where and when do they plan to do those things? If we don't, then one, just log into the site of the Ministry of Finance and that of the budget and download all those stuff. Follow it up. Know where your own share is in the budget, and if you know, then that is where you are going to start tracking. My brother Mubarak said that they are developing something like, okay, trying to document all the promises that politicians did while campaigning. Yes, some are achievable while some cannot be achieved due to the system we have with the economic instability in the country. But however, if we are going to want things to work for us, for instance, there was a time I challenged a member of my State House of Assembly, my constituency. There is a road, sorry to let me use this word. Late Sir Patrick Ibrahim Yakwa of blessed memory started a road of about 30 kilometers. That road is about 20 kilometers when Patrick Ibrahim Yakwa died. Since the day he died till today, that road is still there. They did not finish the road. It is about more than 8 years now. The road is there. But however, there was a time I am tracking some projects that they said was allocated to my own constituency. What I saw was that the project has been completed. In fact, another new one was issued and all has been done. The status completed. And nothing was done. The next thing I did was I put a call to my member of State House of Assembly. Sir, I just saw a report from the Ministry of Budget that so road has been completed. In fact, another one was allocated and it has been completed. I'm telling you, from that day he stopped picking my call. In fact, it was the genesis that me and him are fighting till today. However, we have to follow it up and report, and we ensure that those people responsible are tracked and the right thing is done. As I'm talking to you, there are a lot of cases. Even one of the cases in the court now trying to bring out those fish or those rats that try to eat our data from those areas. However, that's one. Two, that means as a citizens, we have to follow it up. In Kaduna State, as my brother made mention, the budget is online. All the projects are there in the budget, and all the money allocated for them are also there. So it is left for us, the citizens, to follow it up and also follow the progress of the work. Either is in progress or completed, or is not done completely. My brother Chuks, if you are paying attention to his lecture fully, he made mention of you getting like minds that will work as a team to bring about change, and it's possible. I once read a quote from Adolf Hitler that says, "Impossibility is in the dictionary of a fool." And I believe all of us in this world, in this church, are not fools. We can do it, and definitely we can mount a pressure to see that we have the change we all desire. And I believe we can have a nation that we pray for. In conclusion, we are all young people with focus, and we all have our own wish for our country. I'm happy through this conference I was able to meet with Chuks. I am sure we've met somewhere. While during our introduction, we are trying to figure out where we've met, but we thank God, and I've also met my brother and my old friend Aloka, and this is my Oga, and a lot of many friends. It's an avenue that for me to call on all of us. Please, let's not let's not misuse this opportunity of 2023. If we decide to stay at home, not to go and vote for the right leaders, then the wrong ones will continue to give us pepper, as my sister rightly said. However, if we get engaged and get our PVC and exercise patience for 24 hours and get the right people in governance, I'm telling you, we can compete with any nation you know on earth. Nigerians, I can say this anywhere I go, we are the best brains in the world. We have the best hands and we are capable of doing it. And I'm sure we are capable of transforming Nigeria. Give the right people opportunity and see wonders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lal. Okay, Mr. Yusuf, this question is not even written here. Many of us Nigerians, we are aggrieved. We are bitter with Nigeria, with ourselves, with the system. In fact, many people, we use the word jackpot, want to go. We're no longer interested. I was speaking with somebody yesterday when I came back home from this conference, and the person was like, he can't see himself going to a place like that because anybody that thinks Nigeria is going to progress is wasting his time. It's funny, but many of us have this ideology. So what do you have to say to us about this?
Well, thankfully, all over the world, we are having economic crisis. So if you jackpot go, you go jackpot come. Because there's nowhere in the world that you do so many illegal things and get free like Nigeria. Go away free. You get money, you're not paying tax. There are a lot of services. If you look at the rates of high institution in UK and America, compare it to what we are paying here, you find out that Nigeria is the best place to be at this point. Because at any point where there are problems and challenges, that is a fertile ground for opportunities, for solutions. For those that watch movies, particularly I'm a fan of documentary. If you watch The Men That Built America, the America we celebrated today, the men that built America built it immediately after the Civil War in America. Government was almost collapsing, 90% collapsed. But that was when America battered a new generation of entrepreneurs. So if America can go through that experience and be America today, which is not as perfect as we think they are, because it's propaganda. There are communities in America don't have light, don't have water, don't have social amenities like schools. 1 in 7 person in America is poor. Nobody will tell you that. More people die out of gun, and all of that in America. You don't see that. So they make you think that is heaven and here we're on earth. They have their own challenges. So for me, I think just to say, as I conclude, based on your question, I would like to just say one thing. The most dangerous person in 2023 is that person that has his serial PVC and goes to vote. And the only reason why he's voting is because the person shares the same religion with him, shares the same ethnicity with him, or because he has collected money. That person is more dangerous than the bandits that are kidnapping and killing people. Because if that, you bring in people into government. Because Nigeria is where it is because of governance. And what is governance? Decision making. The quality of decision making is the result we are seeing. So if you put leaders that can take qualitative decision, including you participating, then we can change the results. But if the decision making process is faulty, then we can never get it right. So it is only incumbent on all of us to ensure that as we go to 2023, it is not about batified, articulated, or obedient. Scrutinize the person's character. Scrutinize the person's plan. Know that, for every leader, there's a leader for every season. There's a leader that would have all the qualification and everything, but he's not for a crisis situation. So you put him in that kind of position, and he makes things up. And we can show people, I don't pity the next president of Nigeria. I don't pity the next governor of Kaduna State. The reasons why, all of us sitting down here, as of 2021, each one of us is indebted to the tune of 32,484 naira, 2021 December. It has increased now because our debt as of then, Kaduna State, is 307 billion naira. And you pay that money. World Bank know they joke with their money, forgive me. You pay. In diverse ways you must pay. So if you don't participate, these monies will come in, a few people will pocket it and go move their children out, then they allow you suffer. In Nigeria, our debt, they say, is 1.4 trillion. It's more than that. Because once you include what they call ways and means, printing of money, we've printed about 20 trillion naira, which is the cause, one of the major reasons for inflation, apart from the fact that the international realities are happening. So for me, it is an advice I want to give everybody, that as we go into 2023, let's ensure that we take informed decision. And digital platforms is something we can leverage on. Anybody that tells you digital platform would not influence election is a lie. The Nigerian digital data, in January alone, they said there were about 32 million active users of social media. In the first quarter of this year alone, we had about 145 million people active on the internet. So if you go and study 2 books, as I conclude, sorry, I've been concluding for long. 2 books I would recommend: The End of Power and The New Power. The End SARS that we talked about is a product of the New Power Force. The Arab Spring is a product of the New Power Force. The strategy President Trump using Twitter to fight conventional media was the product of the New Power. So the world has transited. 80% of residents of Kaduna are below 35. And they respond to the digital world more than the archaic work. In terms of the last election, at the national level, we had about 84 million eligible registered voters. Out of that 84 million, only 27 million came out to vote, including rigging. Out of that 27 million that actually came out to vote, only 15 million voted for the incumbent president, which is less than 20% of the total votes in Nigeria. So it means that we are running a government of the minority, by the minority, and for the minority. What happened to the 53% that did not come out to vote? In Kaduna State, only 47% of voters came out. The incumbent governor was voted by only 26% of eligible voters. What happened to the other 84% or so in terms of our eligible? So it means that we that are seated here that did not vote in 2019, if we come out and vote, we can vote the 27, we can defeat the 27 million people that did not vote. And it is because we that are seated here believe politics is dirty. It is dirty because they have built a propaganda around it to make you feel it is dirty, so that you don't come in. He said politics is marriage, is wedding, but they don't want you to go into the marriage. Do you know why? In the contrary sense, it is because it is in the marriage that they share the billions. And if you participate in the marriage when they are sharing the billions, you demand for your own share. So they would rather you think it is dirty and they push you out, you go and vote or you don't vote, they don't care. And if you don't vote, you've created the enabling environment for them to rig. So please, as we are seated here, sir, let's not do the workshop. We want to see next steps. What is the Diplomat Center going to do through this leadership to ensure that we influence the governance that is happening starting in Kaduna State? When good people do nothing, evil will persist. So it is us seated here that are responsible that things are not working because we have refused to participate. And for things to work, we must participate. So the quality of our participation is what will always determine the quality of governance that we will get. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mubarak, I think you're a very young person like me. We're all young people. So this question is for you, and it's really more like a question and an advice at the same time, and then you can chip in your conclusion. Is there really hope for young people in this country? Do you
Yes.
really think that this country would function? And then what do you have to say to young people who are out there, who are listening, and there are some people online too, and I would want to go out there and talk to people. So let it be like you're having a one-on-one conversation with every young person here, and also the parents, because they're going to whisper some things to their kids.
Okay, thank you for that question. To take us back memory lane, when we read history of the Nigerian youth movement led by the likes of Ernest Akoli and their likes, they were really in their early 20s, and they were in their 20s and in their early 30s when they were sitting down with the British colonists to discuss the future of Nigeria post-independence. But I regret to inform you that a high population of our young people today are all artists and dancers on TikTok, forgetting the fact that on a daily basis decisions are taken that is going to influence our today and our tomorrow. All we are concerned about is who is evicted and who remains in BB Nigeria. We are not paying attention to a number of reforms that are happening. When we start mentioning reforms even in Kaduna State, you will find out that a number of just few people knows about those reforms. Now, for instance, Kaduna State was the first state that signed the Open Government Partnership into law. How many young people are aware of that? How many young people are aware that all the projects they are seeing in their community are actually online? That a project has been brought to your community, you can actually demand for the bill of quantity, tender analysis report, value evaluation report, everything concerning the project is something that you can see, considering the fact that even the nation has signed the FY Act, Freedom of Information, as far back as 2007. Yeah, we understand that there is still a number of bureaucracy, but we have been seeing phenomenal results. As one of the youngest persons in civil society in Kaduna State, I say this with tears in my eyes and pains in my heart, that I am yet to go to a number of civil society program, and I will find somebody that is younger than me. This is so alarming. And why is this happening is because things we're supposed to concentrate on are not those things we are concentrating on. I have few number of young people as followers online because of the quality of content that I share. If you're bothered about social integration, you will not like me on Facebook. Why? Because my Facebook is not meant to just come online. It is to take advantage for me to be able to influence the mindset of somebody from afar. That's the essence. So now, coming to the fact that it's actually visible for us to have those results. Recently, there was an advocacy we did around the local government autonomy bill. I work with Mr. Goje at the local government accountability mechanism. I work for him, not with him. I work for him. So we did an advocacy around the local government autonomy, and I took the bold step of sending an email to the Speaker of the Kaduna State House of Assembly. I did about 5 short videos, it was on Twitter, on Facebook. I got numbers, I sent it to about 16 Kaduna State House of Assembly members. And I am pleased to inform you that 4 days later, the Speaker of the Kaduna State House of Assembly sent me a personal mail thanking me for sending him the message and that they have voted yes to the local government autonomy bill. So if we are having evidences and results as such, it is proof that when we do more, we will have more. As citizens, we're supposed to be Oliver Twist. Why? Because it's just like an issue of a servant and a master. Considering the fact that the Constitution of Nigeria said sovereignty belongs to the people, from which the government, through this Constitution, derive all its authority and power. Now, 60% of the population of this same country are young people. So it means that young people can decide everything that would happen in this country if we use our number to our advantage. But we are using our number to determine who is evicted and who is remaining in BB Nigeria. So it's a decision that we would all have to make, that yes, I want to lend my voice to make sure this is happening. We've seen a number of projects that have been diverted in my local government, in my community, that we have stand our feet to make sure that is not done. But by the way, who is paying us for our participation? Nobody is doing. We're all bothered about what the country have for us, but nobody is talking about his contribution to nation building. So in as much as nation building is part of the conversation we are here for, then we must play our role as nationalists. Nigeria cannot be changed by heavy pushes of heavy Nigerians. Nigeria can be changed by tiny pushes of every honest Nigerian. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mubarak. So, Mr. Tochukwu, this question is for you. I think the both questions are both related, and it's from the audience. So basically, it says, the internet is indeed a broad medium of getting to reach people. In this regard, how do I know what to do part-time? By this time, I mean a blueprint on how to start out to be able to educate youth like me on the need for nation building and how to also go about it. And then the second one is related to the first one. How can one grow or develop an online community, page group, or platform? And then it's a very wonderful question because almost everybody is interested in something like this.
So thank you for that question. So what I want to say, I want to encourage our elders here, because sometimes when you get this kind of question, they think that they are excluded. It's both for the young, but honestly, I want the elders to be part of it. Because when a man of 60, 70, 50, mid-50s are engaged in this thing, they bring another kind of wisdom. So in that context, I want to now speak both to the elderly and the young people. First of all, you cannot do anything that is not you. That's the foundation of that answer. Only do what is you. I've now understood what is me. From the point I understood what is me, I freed myself. If you notice me, I'm a light person. I mean, meaning that I'm free in my spirit. Anything I do, when I was talking, I was not struggling to talk. I'm not copying anybody. I'm not copying any templates. I learn a lot, and I fuse it to what I'm doing, because what I do directly takes care of me, my family, any initiative. I do things like this. I use my money to do something like that. So meaning that I survive from who I am. When I align with you to do something, I align with you to do what you are doing. And by the way, part of what I do is answering that question. And I can tell you, my first degree was in HND. I did in accounting. I did not write normal accounting project. I wrote a project called project packaging for business funding. And up to today, since 2002, when I left my first degree, that's still what I do for people. So my project is what I still live by the way. Now, why am I telling you this? If you try to do something that is not tied to who you are because you want to intervene, you will not succeed. Number two, remember I told you that whatever you want to do now, listen carefully, do it with a 10 years plan in view. Do it with a 20 years plan in view. If you want to do something hit and run, first of all, I'm not answering that question for you. Like what you are trying to say of that we are doing it, people are not congratulating us, or there's no reward, or the fact that you are young people, don't worry. Add 10 years to his life, you now understand what he's doing today. Do you get the picture? Do you get the picture? His generation, many of them don't understand civil society engagement, and that's what we actually discovered. Even my own generation, if you take a poll of people who are at my age, who are doing CSO work, compared to those ones that did it some years ago, we're actually very few. In fact, when I look at my mates, secondary school people, I grew up in Kaduna, and people, I discovered like I'm a lone voice. The same thing too, but we know we are not lone voice. Because when we come to a meeting like this, we know we are not lone voices again. Is that not true? Plus every one of you. So the first thing I'll ask you, please do who you are. Number two, there is something that I think, permit me, it's my bias, but I'll say it, that we need to begin to do. The level of consciousness. So consciousness means the level of what you are acutely always aware about in Nigeria on how to build a nation is extremely low. That people are supporting any of the candidates, they are not doing it from a perspective of nation building. They are doing it from a perspective that we want to change government. Do you get it? Okay, so I will give you an example, like for some of the work I'm about to do for maybe one or two political parties or some candidates. One of the product is called a blitz. Blitz means massive bombardment. It's a military term. So if I'm doing a brand management for you as a political party or as a candidate, everywhere in your locality or in Nigeria or abroad, we actually only hear about you. By the way, it costs money, right? So the candidate is going to pay for that. Number two, part of my job, and that's what I'll be ending by talking about with you today, is that I determine the narratives they will say. So if I determine your narratives, and I determine the level of frequency, which is that blitz I'm using, meaning that massive bombardment for the next 4 months, maybe from October till February, when the election is going to take place. And you're the only person people are going to be hearing with different sets of narrative, whether it's on video, whether it's on your social media and everything. I know the good thing about social media, we share a lot of things and things get viral. So that is part of my product to certain clients. What am I trying to do with that client or a political party or part-time? I'm trying to heighten consciousness. I don't know that you're getting me. I'm trying to heighten consciousness. So the consciousness, like what he said, that is what is happening, is extremely low. So what I want to appeal to all of you, can you do anything on the social space that heightens consciousness? Can you create an online poll? Polls are independent opinion gatherers on whatever you think. Can you hold people accountable in government, like what you're trying to do? Can you put an online solution like what budget is doing? Now, if we take budget from what budget is doing as a digital citizen to build a nation, look, you know, sometimes I laugh at Nigerians. We don't even know the deep stress we are into. If Nigerians realized the gravity of what it means to have borrowed for 8 years to fund projects, the level of debt, I will not lie to you, people literally supposed to stop going to work and start protesting every day that say no to borrowing, start developing the economy. But can I tell you how it will work? If budget, or if what you are trying to do, take it online, invest. Do you know what it means to invest minimum of 1 million naira every month or almost every week? Because when you're doing sponsored ads, it's actually your scope you're actually paying for. To heighten consciousness with credible information on what people, the implication of this debt, that some of these conditions will not be waived, of what it means to be indebted to World Bank, of what it means to be indebted to China, of how many years are the conditions of these things. Do you know that if suddenly people start hearing this thing, trust me, there's going to be a massive outcry. Let me tell you some of the international conspiracies. Some of these international conspirators can even fund some of our people to do some of this kind of research work and keep the reports, but will not fund you when you want to heighten consciousness for your citizens. You know why? Once the citizens have been enlightened and their eyes open, what will happen? There will be an uproar. Because suddenly, my small boy now, no matter his age, that at 3,000 you are saying and everything, plus the interest that is going to accrue during his generation, he's going to pay for it. Nigerians do not understand. I've been saying this thing since like 5-7 years ago, but I wish I didn't say it. Maybe it's a prophecy now that is about catching up. I wish, but now it's catching up. I hope you now know that almost everything you're doing now, you're being taxed. Yeah. So there's going to be a tax for that 1 liter of fuel you're buying. The government is going to tax you maybe 50 kobo or 1 naira. But it's 1 naira times how many million every day? Your prepaid meter you are doing, for every recharge you're going to do, maybe the government will charge you 1 naira. For every recharge you want to do on your phone, because eventually they will be looking for the money from everywhere. Now, if anybody can have any project on what you are doing, remember we are talking, so sorry, I'm always talking within a context because of what I do. I've learned that anything you do and you don't contextualize what you are doing, you are going to lose it. Even though we are talking about a coming election, I'm looking beyond an election. If you always think about election, you'll be reactive. We are trying to build a nation. We are trying to access the digital space, which is the concept of this program. So look at what I want to say now. Is it possible that you have a product, you have a service, you target a group of people on the digital space, and you start a conversation? He said something, let me bring it out very well. He says people don't want to engage him on his platform because of what he's saying. There's no problem. But in brand management and in social media growth, what is it called? It's called organic growing. So if you check his wall today, or you check our our leadership wall right now, it looks like nobody is talking to you, isn't it? That is part of what some of us check. Not in the negative. We want to check when did you start coming from when you are coming. Do you get what I'm saying? It is called credibility. So he's not being liked by many things right now, but do you know what is happening? He's growing online. Because in 3 years when they check, they'll see that there was a time that people were not clicking anything, but he has always been posting something. The same thing with what we are doing on Leadership Center. When they went back to Toby Amoson's war or Asa Brumer's war 5 years, 6 years ago, the people were not clicking anything. But the moment she won, those two ladies won those things. Do you know people went back to the day they started and started clicking like on what they're doing? What I'm trying to say is that don't matter what is happening right now, keep a track record. It's going to come one day that people are going to know what you are doing. It doesn't matter, but be the thought leader right now because we are trying to shape the culture. So to finally answer your questions and those of you here, that question that you asked, please permit me to rephrase it again. What can I do? I agree that you can do something, but please permit me to add. We are doing something here in the diplomat in the leadership shift, and you have some of your friends, or you have some people that share the same values with you, and that is why I talked about an intelligentsia. Please, I really, really believe that you need to come together to form something. You know what I discovered with the top IT companies? None of them started doing it alone. You know the reason why we are using a lot of internet use and we have guys who are doing excellent apps, but they are not scaling up because they want to take the glory. They want to do everything. Because of what I do, I see greed in my clients. You know they call greed. Somebody who does all his calculation, tell you the idea. But when you analyze, you know that because of the greediness of not trying to bring people inside, the idea is so foolish. So please, there's a reason. This conference would have not happened without many hands making it to happen. Please go from what can I do to what can we do. It can even start with just one person. Develop a product. Develop a small video to go viral. Do an app. Do an opinion poll. Or do something that is tied to who you are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. I hope we had a wonderful time. So, with a conclusion, I want to say this. The Holy Book says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Everything begins from the mind. And there was something I wrote some while back because I started content creating recently, and I decided to write on the mind. And after I did so much reading, I wrote this finally. If we only knew how powerful the mind can be, all you need is an idea to be sold to it, and then it creates the strongest demons or angels. Sell it good stuffs and watch it blossom. Everything we're doing here is selling an idea to our mind. Everything we are starts from our mind. Eat it, digest it, ingest it, let it be part of your everyday life, and you watch yourself blossom because your mind is you. Thank you very much. Thank you all my panelists. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. Quickly, who is with those gift items? Our visionaire, you'll come and give them a little gift item we have for our panelists, and we have a picture with them before they step down. So Tochukwu, you're only part of the picture. Your gift item is after. Quickly, come with it, please. One, just. Okay, this is for Bernice. This is for Dr. Labo. All right, thank you very much. You can have your seat. Tochukwu will come back to you. You can carry your waters. Your waters, please. Yes. All right, thank you very much, our panelists. It's a rich discussion. So we will be quickly having a very short 35 minute session by our speaker. He said it's a discussion. So he will quickly do a 35 minutes. That's the last session and we are off. But before we do that, there is an evaluation form that will be shared. Might not reach everybody, but if it just reaches you, just do well to fill the form. We want to know what we did well, what we didn't do well, what we need to improve on. So please don't shy away. Be as honest as you can, be as blunt as you can. We need it so that we can keep improving this every year. The other second thing is, as I said earlier, we need volunteers that can join the team for us to plan this program properly. And there are different areas that you can volunteer with us, with the team. So, if you're interested in volunteering for the Leadershift Conference, we have need for media, that is photography, videography, graphic designers. Then we have people to work in the technical aspects, people who have to do with all these settings. You know, we need more hands, people who can tell us this is the way we can do it better. Lighting, sound, arrangements. We need also people who will join and add to the team, the protocoling and ushering, or will I say majorly registration, seating arrangement, orderliness of the Leadership Conference venue. Now next year is not going to be at the Diploma Center. We are moving to another location because the vision is growing and more people are coming in, are showing interest both online and offline. So we will be moving the conference to certain halls. So we will need people that can join the team in doing that. We need communication people, publicity and online, people who are good with social media, who are going to be influencers, who can share this program, who can do the hashtag and, you know, keep pushing it there and encouraging people to join. And in any other way you feel you can be, maybe these things that I didn't mention here, you have no particular place that I have mentioned here. There are other services that you feel you can give to the Leadership Conference. Please, you can state. There is a form that is shared so you can take. And then the other part is for partnership. We need people that will partner with us. Now, it takes money to do this. And we have a few people that have come together, put in their resources and all that, but we can do more. So please, if you can be a financial partner, the partnership form is also available. Just indicate or ask any of the protocol, they will give you that. You can also be a partner by donating maybe a hall. You have a place that you feel you can donate to the Leadership Conference to use as a venue. We'll appreciate that. So it mustn't be money. You can give us other partnership resource. It could be that you want to take care of decoration, you are into this thing, or you know somebody who's into this thing and you feel that this can happen. You can recommend us to organizations who will partner with us. We want to have partners or co-sponsors of the event, people who you can give us that recommendation, or you can help us open that door or lead us to that door. Let's knock with your influence. You could take care of refreshment. It was our desire to give you lunch, but as a free conference, you are limited to a certain place. You can only do so much. You can only do where your available resources permits you to. Then we also wanted to have conference material and customized notepads, pens. We want to even have t-shirts in the next conference. It's a movement, it's a brand. So these are the things that we want to put together. Then you could also be someone who wants to take care of guest speakers. You have a hotel that you feel you can give it for some 2 days for us to accommodate guest speakers. You know, that saves us a lot of costs. It could be speaker transportation, you know, souvenirs for them like you saw here, all these things. So these are all channels that you can, so it mustn't be that you must give us money outrightly, no. It could be financial, it could be that you do it in kind, as you feel that you can. So please and please, we are asking you to partner with us so that we can continue to touch Nigeria, we can continue to touch the North so that we develop people, world-class leaders that will influence society. Thank you very much as you do this. So without much ado, I would like to call on Mr. Tochukwu Femine again for the final session in closing.
Reverend, thank you so much once again. And please let me say thank you for those of you that have seated here through. I can see some empty seats. I know what happens in Nigeria when a meeting begins to go down towards the afternoon. It's no more easy. Your stomachs are crunching. There are certain faces that I've been looking at who have been so attentive. They are not here. Some have gone. So those of you still seated here, please, can you just clap for yourselves? Thank you. So I would be rounding up in the next 30 minutes. And after that, I think Mr. Jemilu has certain things he needs to say that was not covered, maybe because of our time management, on the detailed strategies on how to engage. I think it's something very important. By the time I'm through, please just kindly be patient with him. He will speak on it. This afternoon, as we close, finally, I would like to have your attention as I talk about the battle of narratives in the digital space, in the real space. When I mean the real space, on physically, like we have right now, and also on the digital space. There is a battle of narrative that is found in Africa, that was given to Africa, that Africans have now imbibed, and at the same time, it has now become the poison by which we have fed ourselves and by which we are now beginning to destroy ourselves. In what we came to deal with today as digital citizens on the digital space towards building a nation where peace and justice will reign, I thought it was very important for me this afternoon to begin to talk about what we need to create, what we need to disrupt, or what we need to counter as digital citizens. First of all, what are narratives? So permit me once again to give you a real-life example. When you hear a company like Facebook saying, connecting people, that is the narrative, and that is the philosophy or the ideation, or what you can call an ideology of why they exist as a brand. Meaning that if you're on Facebook, even if you had a friend that you did not connect with 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you can connect with that person. Is that true? Is that true? Now, that narrative, listen, because we are saying something very important here as I try to wrap up. That narrative is the narrative that was responsible, that made Facebook a global company. So, for example, I am in Nigeria, but I want to connect to a friend who is living in China, who either knows me or does not know me. If I check him on Facebook and I know his name, we are connected. Is that true? Let me ask you a question. Can any government, in government sophistication, ever create that kind of solution? Can any government create that kind of solution? Yes or no? No. The answer is what? Is no. There's another product. Their ideation narrative is called Think Different. That is Apple, right? Meaning that anything they do is different. Meaning you should think different. Another narrative some people constructed, have fed to the world, it has become institutional as a system, and if you are not sophisticated in your thoughts, you will follow them because you have also not pushed yourself beyond your current border of thoughts to query it, to investigate it, and to know whether what you have accepted before should be what you should continuously accept. It's called democracy. I hope you know that communism as a concept is a narrative of a group of persons. Is that true? Communism is the reason why a continent like China or the Asians still remain the kind of nation they were. When Lee Kuan Yew was to determine how his own nation will be created, shaped, and sustain. One of the things they told themselves that we are not going to go through the route of communism. We are going to blend socialism, we are going to blend capitalism, and we are going to make sure that our people receive the best for their society. And because they fused a concept, they also fused a concept called democracy, but at the end of the day, it was one of the democracy that has ever worked in the face of the world. In fact, more than the people who are promulgating democracy. Meaning that a nation called Singapore fused a narrative that will be okay and determined by them. They created their narrative. So every time in society, whether in the private sector, whether in the public sector, people determine the narrative that will govern them. So when you go to a particular organization, you hear what you call corporate governance, right? Meaning that this is what will govern us. Africa or Nigeria, and like Reverend said in the morning, have formed a narrative, whether it's by our constitution or by some of our electoral laws that needed to be changed, or even at the state level, certain laws. You know, every time we talk about in Nigeria, we always talk about the 99 Constitution. Many nationals or people who are supposedly supposed to now be citizens do not know what is being passed on the state level. In fact, the greatest corruption is found in the state level. Do we agree with that? If you are going to be a digital citizen, I will tell you that the greatest work of a digital citizen is actually called what I may call a digital evangelist. You know what that means? You are going to curate narratives that are compelling enough, empirically tested, meaning that it's not your ideas, because sometimes your ideas cannot pass global standards, how much more international or local standards, that are superior enough for you to push it on the digital space to cause a change. For example, again, let me give you an example. When NSAS happened, an acronym suddenly came up in Nigeria. It was called Sorosoke, right? Meaning what? Speak up. Isn't it? If that narrative is sustained by somebody that has a 10-year goal, not like a spark, because the NSAS was a spark, it came and it went down. It will mean that everybody from the local government level, state level, the federal level, through that concept, will begin to speak up against anything that is wrong in the state. For example, again, permit me, I need to push in this example so that you understand where I'm taking you to. If you go to the land of Israel, they have what they call chutzpah. Chutzpah is a Hebrew word meaning that anytime before you to accept anything, you have to debate it, you have to argue it, you have to interrogate it before a child or a youth or even at the national level accept it. That is why you have a lot of vigorous debates, intelligent debates that happen in the state of Israel before they can accept anything to be the truth. In fact, if a child does not grow with that kind of attitude, he may not become the kind of leader he's supposed to become in society. Now, because of that kind of thinking, they have originated a society that queries everything, can see the long-term effect of a policy, and can bring it down for what they need to do. Because of the failure of education in our country, everybody thinks that because you can speak on social media or you can speak when you hold a microphone, your opinion means anything. Yes, your opinion means something because you can speak. You have a right to your freedom of expression because you're a human being. But the question we're asking today is that the kind of narrative that is responsible for changing our state does not come anyhow. You must articulate it very well. You must think about it very well. You must determine the impact it is, and you must push it out. Mark the word I call push out. I said something today, and I'll keep on saying it. I am big on mobilization. And that is why I've already seen, and thank you, Mr. Jamilu, for saying that there's going to be a day very soon, not even from next year, going forward. This program will be the most attended leadership program up here in the north. It has to be like that. And so when there's a call for volunteers, I expect that everybody that is committed, come here, plan for this program 6 months before this program, and tell me how this program will not shake the north. Put it all in all the digital space on why leaders need to shift. List the narratives that they need to shift based on what is peculiar to your region here in the north or in your state. Put it on all the online platforms, respectfully, by the way. Because if you want to look for trouble, you don't look for trouble by sometimes just blowing all the punches. Make your argument deeply empirical, deeply reasonable, humane, because nobody will stop you to send out a small short video that can capture what a new state can look like. and you make it go viral. It spreads around, but the people who created it were a group of people who came out from this place. Take up the work of National Orientation Agency, who were supposed to be orientating Nigerians about what it means to be united. My brothers, my sister, that is another work for a digital citizen. Own that process. If you do not change the narratives, or you do not counter the narratives, I'll tell you that there's going to be a problem. So why do you have to counter narratives? Why do you need to create new narratives? Do you know why? If you do not change the current way of thinking, people will not change their current direction of where they are going. Nigeria's problem or Africa's problem is not as complicated. I've known enough, I've studied enough, I have been engaged enough to know that it is not really as bad as you think. It is very bad though. Please, take it from me, it's extremely bad. But can I tell you the truth? When you know what to do, it's not really as bad as it is. Why must you heighten consciousness, like I was saying? Why must you push out narratives and counter narrative and bring in new narrative? It is because we now need new followership. Did you hear what I said? We now need what? New followership. If we are going to be leaders in anything you are doing, in any space you are, you actually need people who will follow you. And why do people follow people? Because there's a compelling vision. Somebody say compelling vision. Your narrative must become what I call a compelling vision. Your narrative must also have what I call shared values. Meaning that if people are not going to follow you, they need to know why they're following you. Are you going to talk to them again with the prism of religion? Are you going to talk with them with the prism of ethnicity? Or are you talk to them about the prism of, you know what, come, let us build this new Nigeria together. Because if you build this new Nigeria together, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, that is what it's going to become. When do you need to do that? I'm telling you that when you need to engage is now. And conveners of this program, I really, really, really want to commend you people for choosing this topic. If you notice, some of the questions asked to us, some of the comments some of us have made, is almost looking like we are just trying to hit the change or talk about 2023 election. Ladies and gentlemen, our engagement is not for 2023 elections. It is beyond 2023 election. In fact, can I be very sincere with you? I've talked with an officer and told me something one day, I just laughed. Even 2023 election is still a distraction. But some of you are very distracted in it. I am not distracted with the plan I have for my nation. The people who are doing whatever they are doing everything right now with a mathematical accuracy. There's a divine factor, like some of us said, we accept that. Me too. If I'm working with a focus, there's a divine factor attached to it. Is that not true? Including in what you are doing. We cannot emphasize it enough. You need to bat a vision. You need to know that on your digital space, in the next 15 years, 20 years, what could you have changed because you are consistently speaking on your platform? There may be an online conference, there may be an online workshop that you start doing on YouTube that before you know it is happening, you have gathered 10 followers, 100 followers, 200 followers, 1,000 followers, 4,000 followers. That is the crux of this meeting today. Remember what we asked. Nations are created. In fact, let me ask you a question which all of you will bear me witness. Have you not noticed when you are growing up that certain families curate how their family will look like? They determine that our family will not do this, will not, even among brothers. So even in a family, this family is, if you look at his house, his wife, his children, and everything is different from this one. Actually, that man is creating a nation. Because in his own house, there's a vision, there are values, and there's now the practical steps of what they are doing. I like the British monarch. From the day you are born and you are close to the hierarchy, from that point till the day you die, whether you are going to become a king or not, you are trained in the art of statecraft. So tell me how you want to conquer that kind of people who knew that they were born with this kind of mentality to rule, and not just to rule within their nation, to rule around the world. You must counter narratives, and you must counter that narratives now. You must heighten consciousness, and you must heighten that consciousness. How? Now. How do you do it? And that was what we were trying to answer. And I just want to bring it out very, very clearly. And that's why I always keep on encouraging everybody that is here. There's nobody that is old, trust me. And there's nobody that is too young. We are all in this thing together. Please, on the online space, let me first of all paint what the online space, then I'll come back to the citizen or the digital citizen. The online space is real, like how you can see this world that we see. Do you understand me? It's so real that there's buying and selling. There is what again? There is business, there is reality TV shows, there are skits going on, there are governance going on the online space. There's what they call telemedicine. You know what they call telemedicine? You know, you don't need to go and meet a doctor, but a doctor can diagnose you and give you treatment. So even in the medical space, there's what they call telemedicine. There is advocacy. So there is everything according to the 7 spheres of society that are represented there. COVID brought us together, but we did not understand what COVID was trying to teach us. In the years to come, there are 3 ways. In Russia, oh my goodness. In Russia, there was a meeting that was going to be attended. And do you know how they asked the participants how they will attend? Listen, 3 ways. I don't know that you have seen that stuff. Will you be attending physically? Will you be attending virtually? And will you be attending astrally? Meaning that people will use astral projection to come to a meeting. Meaning also that a lot of people, you may not come to this meeting, but you come to this meeting virtually. And that's the concept of what you call the metaverse. The metaverse, permit me to talk about it, is another universe that has opened for opportunities. The graphic designers that you have now doing normal graphics will become the architects in the metaverse. So some of you, instead of you going back to go and learn architecture, this kind of program, if we take it to the metaverse, the hall and how it will look is not like this. It may have this background, but it's an architect or a graphic designer that will design it. Such a person will be paid a very big amount of money for that. What they call people is going to be represented as avatars. We will be real in that metaverse conference, like how we are real seated here. In fact, by the way, I think that is the way in the next 5-10 years people will be attending meeting. And if you make sense in that kind of meeting, if you want 1 million people to come to your conference, you will even be screening people out who are more than over 1 million to come to that conference. Because virtually, it's going to take off. Very soon, like everybody has been saying it, and I begin to see it practically for myself, not because people are saying it. Coming to a program like this will be determined. So we can say anytime we are doing Leadershift, after you have registered, if the hall is filled, no more, join us online. And people may be comfortable going online, making their contributions and everything. Because very soon in the years to come, even physical space will be too much of a stress for people to be coming together. All the opportunities in the metaverse, in case you are hearing me talk about metaverse and you don't understand, like I told you earlier, and that is what I've started doing and what I will advise all of you to do. Please go back and start learning anything on the online community, like you are learning A, B, C, D. It can never leave you if you start pursuing it for the next 6 months. Because something about the digital world or the online community is that once you start, you just keep on growing inside of it. You too, you will now become sophisticated growing in it. We must change narrative, and that's all I have to say today. Because if there's anything I've now decided to do, I go and meet some of my clients, I go and meet people, I talk to them. There's no. It is bring your proposal. It is let us do it. And what am I telling them? I just discovered, let's change this. Let's change this. And if we are changing these thoughts, these are the things we need to do. Meaning, these are the options. These are the platforms we need to use. And funny enough and coincidental enough, suddenly, and I thank you, I don't know why Jamilu called me, I started trying to determine narratives on the online space. Let me ask you a question, and it's an opportunity for you, by the way. National Orientation Agency, do you see them engaging Nigeria on the online space, orientating them what we are doing? The answer is no. Go and download their blueprint of what they are supposed to do to orientate Nigeria. Study that blueprint. Customize it with the kind of narrative you think you have. Government have made the work easy because that work is a very detailed work. Choose an online platform. Choose how you want to do it. Choose how you can be pushing all those things that National Orientation Agency is supposed to be doing on behalf of the government. But you are the government. Sure, they told you are the government, right? Right? And begin to push your narrative out. Remember to grow organically, meaning that it's not one day you start, you get all those followership. Because if you start, there's going to be a point where it will tip. There's always something called the tipping point. By the time it tips, whatever you are posting online will become 3 things. Number 1, it will become viral. Viral means that it has gotten out of your control. Is that not true? Eventually, it will become what? An epidemic. Epidemic means something broke out. Is that not true? Eventually, it will become a pandemic. Pandemic was what we saw in 2020. I will announce to you today, because that's what I'm doing, and that's what I've devoted my life to do, and that is what this conference, because this is the team we are standing on. Develop narratives that will become a pandemic. I'll repeat it again. Develop narratives, counter narratives that will become what? A pandemic. You know why Nigerians are getting the results we're having? If there's enough narratives that Nigerians will come about, not because it's a political year, to counter criminals coming to run for election, I will tell you, the criminals will have no face to come on the social space. The criminals will have no space to say they are trying to do anything. I hear some of you saying that some people are connected to this one, others are not connected. By the way, the issue of digital citizenship runs on what I call media. Media, conventional, media, social. Conventional, radio and television. Unconventional or new media, it means social media, right? But can I tell you something? Have you not noticed the phenomenon that has been happening in our country recently? That the movement that you see going viral, even people in the village are hearing about it. Is that not true? Let me tell you something. The world is configured, if not because of the kind of where we are at this part. And by the way, I discovered that it's not really as bad as you think it is. Everybody will have an access to the social space. So if everybody will not have the access to the social space, and those who can have access to it can curate enough narrative, they can determine what will happen. Let me ask you a question. Not notice that when the bandits started doing certain things in the bush, they also started to send out their narrative online. Was that true? Where were they videoing it and pushing it out? What do you think they're trying to do? What do you think they're trying to do? They are pushing up their narrative. They're telling you, I will send fear, and you must believe my fear. They're telling you that this is a lucrative business, because the way you are interpreting it is not how another person is interpreting it. Another person, when he saw that video, that's when he will call his friend and say, come down to start this business. Do you understand? They are pushing out a narrative. If not, they should do it in secret. And that's why it's been said that even in terrorism, the fear of the fuel of terrorism is that they must make sure that they put it out so that people will have enough set of people who have enough fear to keep them. When I was coming yesterday, people were saying they don't fly Kaduna Road in the evening or whatever. I said, oh, me, I'm coming for a mission. Nothing will happen to me. I will not allow fear to enter inside of me. I will not submit to that narrative because I have a work to do. Ladies and gentlemen, we have talked about a topic. Please don't ever think it's complicated. The digital space has come to stay. It's not going anywhere. I have benefited from it more than anything that has happened after COVID. After food in my house, the next thing that must be on my distance is data. In fact, I'm planning to have a data plan that can be comfortably 1 year data plan. Yes, because I have too many things to go out and do there. You may not see me on because some of you will go and start checking me on LinkedIn and everything and on Facebook. And you will not see me. The work I do is deeper than that. It's much more technical than that. So I don't make noise on the social media. It's my business very soon that you are going to see it all over Nigeria. You know why? Because that is alone too. It's also a strategy. Because sometimes you make noise too much, some of you. Small thing happen, you are sharing, you are talking. You are making people to begin to attack you who are not supposed to even attack you in the first place. Or people to see you who are not supposed to see you. Create narratives that are compelling. There are more than enough Nigerians that want to key into the narratives. When do you need to do it? Now. Because you need to grow organically. It is a law on the social space that you must grow. If you like, go and buy followers. If those followers are not real, you're not going anywhere. Use all your space. I challenge everybody, by the time we are coming for the next conference, I want to see somebody here, 2 people here, who have developed an app that has to do with nation building. I was happy when I heard from my brother when he was saying that there's an app that has developed and quantified the level of percentage of what, and that's what you said, right, of the percentage of the president's tax. I'm going to follow that app and know about it. When I listen to a lot of my friends on the solutions that they have for app, one of my friends currently, right now, he's doing a study on how to start creating and pushing out apps. That is some of the things I want you to do. Go on an online post, form an online post to show people how Nigerians think. Do small short videos, do documentary videos, invest money, get a group of people to push your narratives that it does need to keep on going out and keep on going out. I've told you, go to National Orientation Agency, get their details and start pushing it out. There is something called Twitter Conference. You can make a narrative that you want Nigeria to know today, popular today. Get people, how much do you spend for Twitter Conference? Sometimes you don't spend more than 100 or 200,000, depending on the number of people you want. Because at the end of the day, on that Twitter conference, it will show that this day in Nigeria, there was something that trended very well. I'm story of how Bring Back Our Girls started. And I can tell you that Bring Back Our Girls became viral. It went viral. Remember, I talked about viral, epidemic, and pandemic. And eventually, at a point in time, everybody was talking about Bring Back Our Girls. Is that not true? Some people pushed out the narrative. They used everything that they need to do. We can curate our new Nigeria. We can determine the narrative. We can shape the culture we want to see. Then finally, you can sustain the conversation. Even this program, we are not ending this program. We are going to sustain the conversation based on this topic. Because this topic, you would think is very noble all around the world. When I checked online when I was doing my research and I started getting interested in this topic, I discovered that, wait, what is happening here? It's like Nigerian citizens have not fully taken advantage of it. What you think that may be a taking advantage of it is what you see happening with this movement because of election. Somebody in every state needs to start holding their governors accountable, and they make it public. When everybody makes it public and they point to them the implication, like I rightly said and I'll still say it again, if Nigerians understand the implication of the debts we have incurred, or how when budgets are made, how they are spent, I can tell you without any doubt, it will bring enough anger for people to say we are not going to work today. Every Monday is a protest against government. Because the government is us, and when they begin to hear, you know what they will do. Look at what he told us as I close. He said we reached out to the House member and stuff, and at the end of the day, they pushed it. You may think he's just an ordinary person or just one person doing that intervention, but look at what a citizen has done on digital space, and at the end of the day, a law has been passed. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to a close this afternoon, I want to tell you, you can do something. Never look down on yourself. Never give up. There's nothing like I cannot do it. It is created in a man to learn a new trade if he wants to learn. It is created in a man that impossible is not his reality. Everything inside of you, it is possible. It is created in a man to shape a nation. Because if you don't shape a nation of your child, you will not be part of the nation. If you shape a nation of your children or from your family where you come out, you know what will happen? You will do it for your community. If you do it for your community, automatically, because that you will do it on the national scale. Ladies and gentlemen, how Nigeria will be viewed, what people are going to say about us is going to be determined by the narratives that we are going to shape, the narratives we are going to counter, and the narratives that we choose for it to become dominant. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much. So as I said, before you go, we also have a gift for you so that you don't look like the only one that we abandoned here. So Doctor will present Thank you. You can have your seat here. All right, so thank you very much, all our panelists, our speakers. He said we had a discussion with him, and he was saying that he wants me to share that with this thing. But if you follow my Facebook wall, some of this conversation is what I have always been putting out. You know, when you put serious conversations, you just have 2 likes, 1 comment, maybe 0 shares or 1 share if you are lucky, and all that. But Nii Soyinka said something yesterday. He said, don't worry about people who are liking, sharing, or commenting. He said, the people that are following and reading your comment are more than the people who are actually liking, commenting, or sharing. Now, the interesting thing about Leadership Conference is that when you are the admin on the page, Facebook sends you insight of who has interacted with your post. And I can tell you that we have nothing less than 500 people who interacted with every of our posts that we put. I am the admin on the page, so I know, I see the insight. In fact, the highest number we have had is about 1,082 people interacted with the page, posts, whatever it is that we have written on the Leadership Conference page. So we're getting somewhere. The only thing we will keep doing more to drive this conversation and engagement with people. And that is why I want, if you are here, please bring out your phone. If you are not following the Leadership Conference page, just type Leadership, not leadership, Leadershift, the way it's written here, conference, with this African logo. That is the page. Just click like on it. Anything that is posted on that page, you will see it. You will get to see the conversation about it. And we are going to post the link for a Telegram group because we want to continue this conversation beyond the conference. We will have our speakers on that group. We will have other people, a group of intelligentsias who will come together. From time to time, we will have certain discussions, certain talks. These debates we are talking about, they will happen in that group as we build up to the next year's conference because it's every October. So before we come to that place, we will have had interactions, we will have had engagements, people will have asked questions, gained clarity, movements will have been battered because we just don't want to come and have a talk, make you feel good, everybody goes home. No, that's not the aim. We want to bring about real change, real transformation that touches the life of people in our country. And if it means we are starting from this little geographical space of ours in the north, we will continue to do it. If it's one person that starts a movement, we are fine. We keep building. That by the time we are getting to 5 years, we have a track record that we can say, this is what came out of this endeavor. So please, we are not just trying to do everything and anything. No. As we said, chaos is not a strategy for engaging a system. That's why they spoke about the, NSAS, how it came and just fizzled out. Nigeria is a system. The Constitution of Nigeria is a system. Until you begin to think from a strategic point of view, you will only be temperamental. You will only raise your voice on the social media and shout to whoever, because if you enter the bus now, somebody will just begin to, you don't need to start a conversation. Somebody can start a conversation with you, even when you're not talking. Do you understand? He will tell you how all the problems of Nigeria is. But what we are saying that these things are not strategies. You need to have a plan, a system to engage the Nigerian system itself. Because if you go confrontational with Nigeria, you will never win against government in confrontation. Biafra tried it, they didn't come out. We are saying no victor, no vanquished. There was a victor, there was a vanquished. That's the truth of the matter. We are only trying to hide it under the cloth in the name of reconciliation, but at the end, it's still springing up with different agitations, left, right, and center. So you can see that no matter how much you try to max this thing, confrontation is not the best strategy for engaging the system. It has to be strategic, it has to be systematic. And because Nigeria is a system, we have to engage it systematically. And that is what you see that our panelists discuss. Some of them are engaged. They are not telling you what they know from their head. It's what they are doing practically. After this conference, meet Mr. Yusuf Go. They say, how do I volunteer in what you are doing? How do I become part of the Open Governance Partnership Project? How do I become part of the agenda? These discussions, meet Mubarak and all. How do I become part of some of these things? They are doing great works in this phase and all that. And then these are things that and that's why we're saying we are going to make sure that out of the conference too, pressure groups come out. A group of people will come together that will say, look, our duty is that we will take the NOA's mandate. We will support their mandate and we'll begin to do our part as citizens. Another group will say, the only thing we will do is we will strategize around taking the budget, analyzing it, looking at it, monitoring the budget, and seeing how it is being implemented. And that is when we begin to, it's not that you go to insult government. There's a way there's what is called strategic communication. You must understand there's a difference between strategic communication and just communicating anyhow. Strategic communication gets you results. Communicating anyhow gets you alienated from the system. So you can see the difference. Ask Yusuf, if he has been criticizing government, he will not be anywhere near governance. That local government accountability something will not be, they will not be near there. But he gets caught. When government wants to do budget in Kaduna State, they must look for Yusuf Goje. I started hearing Yusuf Goje's name when I was in government. We have even exchanged emails, but we didn't know ourselves physically because I had to send something to him. He had to, they will always look for, this is how you go. But it's not that he has ever been a government worker, no. But it's his activism, his work around the civic space. The same thing with Mubarak. This is how you engage. So please and please, let's come together. Just follow that page. We'll put up the link in this coming week for the Telegram group. Join it once you see it. We continue this conversation. And I want to say thank you very much. Thank you to our visionaire, the founder of the Diplomat Center, Dr. Uzawadu, for creating this platform for us to converge and have these important discussions. Thank you to all the participants, a lot of people. Jamian Matan Arewa, they are represented here, wonderful people, a very strong pressure group of women from the north. So their representative is here. I have my wonderful friend, comrade, former colleague in government. He's currently now a supervisory councillor in Kagarko local government, Abubakar Adamu Brady. So can you wave the people, my man? But his popular name is Arewa Man. That is the only name that if you call him that anybody will know him from anywhere. But it's me that know his official names. So thank you for coming. We have a lot of pastors here who came from far and wide. We have people that came from Sokoto. See my wonderful friend here. Yesterday night I was on my way and I saw him. He traveled all the way and he came here when we had closed. And I met him. I said, don't worry, we're having today. So I want to appreciate you again. I've forgotten that NGO's name. Maybe. Yes, Kaduna Youth Empowerment Foundation. So he close to Giwa. He traveled all the way from close to that axis. He was there doing a walk, so he had to just leave and come. His colleague was here too. They were two. I think she has gone. So we have like that a lot of groups represented here and there. NACAMs were here. That's National Association of Kaduna State Medical Students. They were here. They have gone now. A lot of them I saw. So these groups like that. These are the people that when we bring them together. NACAS too was represented as the National Association of Kaduna State University Students. They were here. So all these groups, I want to just say thank you for coming. Thank you for the individual participants who were invited and you honored the invitation. Thank you for the partners who made this possible. We want to say you have been our strength. Thank you for being a pillar of support. And there is nothing more we can say, but God will bless you, will increase you from how and where you have supported us. God bless you. May we rise for the national anthem as we bring this meeting to a close. Don't forget, if you fill those forms, don't forget to return it. Yes, all right, thank you very much.